Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to the grand finale of the Australian Supercars E-Series. Plays with me every single week. I try and say that name, but we're here nonetheless. This is brought to you by My Private Sellers. This is the final round, live from the Talladega Super Speedway. My name, of course, Scott Rankin. Alongside me is Carl Withy. Carl Withy, it has been 10 rounds up until now. 10 rounds of intense fighting at a point scenario at the top that is separated by 13 points for the lead. It is going to be a big bang of a finale. You can tell that much.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? It's super exciting to have this one tonight. I'm so looking forward to this, and it's going to be an interesting battle. As you said, it is really close at the top, and there is so much to play for as well. There are so many chances for so many drivers to get a championship out of this one tonight.
Well, I'm just doing the point scenarios at the moment, doing my final analysis, crossing off some numbers, checking it all. Ultimately, the end of the night, the point scenario is Raymond Yeager has 310 points. Andy Barber, his closest competitor, with 297. Gap, 13 points. 6 points further back goes to Gary Wellman on 19 points gap to the leader, 291 for him. Adam Malone, I think, is probably the last driver who's in contention here, and his gap is 29 points. Now, I've just done the final math. 26 drivers registered here, Carl. That must mean that for Malone to win the championship, he must finish first, Raymond Yeager must finish last, and he must earn 2 more bonus points than Raymond Yeager. Those are critical numbers to keep in your mind. Anyone that's any further back than that has to win, has to sweep all bonus points, and Raymond Yeager must get none. So effectively, we have 4 drivers in mathematical contention, but 3 drivers in theoretical contention.
Yeah, very much so. It's the mathematical part. You know, obviously, there are penalties that can come into play here. There are so many things that can come into play. That is one of the things. So you can't discount it all. But somebody like Raymond Yeager at the moment, he's just going to want to keep it clean, keep it out of trouble, just keep his nose, keep his nose clean. Effectively, that's going to be one of the big things for him tonight. Is just keeping out of trouble tonight and getting, possibly not even racing too hard. He just needs to have a good, solid finish. Whereas those drivers that need to win the championship, they are going to have to push really hard.
Well, critically, Raymond Yeager's first qualifying lap has just come through on the board. It's a 52.272. And you know what? It's not quite there. It's P number 2. Bonus point is for qualifying on pole only. Everyone else gets nothing from qualification other than their grid order. And right now, I'm keeping an eye back through the pack. Drivers to look out for: Andy Barber, Gary Wellman, Adam Malone. Are you further in mathematical contention should everything go to plan?
Yeah, that's it. Just looking through now, and yeah, as Yeager's just coming up to the line again, as I just remember to actually get everything properly set up in the broadcast booth as well. Eventually, the usual things of.
Second lap doesn't improve for Raymond Yeager, so 52.272. There's no bonus point on the table for him for his qualifying efforts. Drivers to keep our eyes out for at this point in time: Gary Wellman has just put through his first lap of qualifying, and that will be his fastest lap of qualifying. He's only going to do one. It's not good enough with a 52.334. Greg Spencer qualifies on pole, and he wipes out one of the bonus points that are on offer for the drivers in contention tonight. Raymond Yeager critically lining up on his outside. The second row is going to be made up of Troy Davidson and Aaron Dillon, the Sim Boys teammates. They're going to have Justin Witcher immediately behind him on the inside of that row number 3, and Gary Wellman starting off the outside of row number 3. So he is surrounded by teammates, and that is going to be a critical factor at any super speedway where he's Carl.
That's it. And one of the big news items is Adam Malone won't be able to make it tonight. He's got family commitments, so it won't be him taking the championship tonight. That is him out of contention. So that's a little bit of a news story, but Greg Spencer up on the front row, that is very useful. And Yeager up there as well. It's good to be up at the front of a super speedway sometimes.
Critically as well, I think something that's got to be discussed is when you have a look through the championship standings, let's take note of the Sim Boys offerings that are coming our way. We've already mentioned Gary Wellman, 291 points. He's in championship contention, but then there'll sort of be a little bit of a fight for who earns the respect out of the rest of the team. Kate Donnelly is the next placed driver from the Sim Boys outfit with 275 points. Guess what? Somebody else alongside him on that 275 numbers, Top Maxfield. They're 5th and 6th in the championship, or equal 5th if you like. Immediately behind them, Nicholas Walsh as well. So there are 4 Sim Boys there right inside the top 7 drivers. And that sort of, there's no other ones inside the top 10. So out of the 2 main teams as well, Raymond Yeager and his guys out of that outfit, they're positioned P1. Then you've got Greg Spencer down in P9 and Justin Witcher in P11. So it's pretty much dominated towards the top end of town by a couple of drivers there, and it's been a good showing from multiple drivers. It's much easier to perform well when you've got multiple sets of data to look at too, Carl.
Yeah, the more data you've got, the easier it becomes. Although sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming when you've got about 6 trillion screens in front of you, which is always fun. Let us know in the chat how everything is going. Of course, if there's a little audio, if there's any audio or anything like that, just let us know. Just because we are quite busy up here at the moment, but we are getting ready to get underway for the race. Of course, it is going to be starting off very shortly. And the cars line up on the grid, so this is this is exciting. Greg Spencer up in front, up at pole position. This is good for the team, of course, as well. You've got 2 teammates up on the front row. That's always a nice feeling.
Yeah, that's it. And 2 teammates that are going to work together. They're going to know when that green flag flies, who gets the jump, where they go, how early they're going to jump. But you've got to remember as well, with 2 of the rival teammates immediately out the rear view mirror, that's, I think, more of a pressing concern. Troy Davison is extremely strong when it comes to these more open super speedway style layouts. These tend to be his better tracks, not quite as strong on the shorter tracks. Don't seem to see a lot of him. Auto Club, he's quite a good driver there. I've seen him be very successful at Auto Club multiple times through Chicagoland. Those sort of style of more open 1.5 cookie cutter layouts. But it's mash gas, go fast here tonight, Carl. It's going to be at that critical fuel number when these drivers opt to come down pit lane.
Yeah, that's going to be the crucial thing. It's all about the pit stops. It's going to be getting those pit stops right on the go as they come around to start setting up for the the start of the race. Of course, it's a long section here that comes to the green flag. Big long straight here until you get to the actual start finish line. We are about to go green. Pace car is coming in. But we will head to the starter cam. We can see the green flag is holding there, ready to go. Soon the cars will come into view as they come around for the first lap here at Talladega for the final round of the Australasian Supercar E-Series. Brought to you by my private seller, Edge Setup Solutions, Witcher Electrics and Ray White River Regatta.
Yeah, that's the final time this season. We get to wave the green flag to start the race. It's in the air. Spencer gets away nicely. Have a look at Aaron Dillon. Immediately hooks up with Raymond Yeager. He's going to shove him to the 4. Raymond gets a long way out in front. Huge shove from Aaron Dillon. Was that intentional? I think it was. I think Dillon was trying to push him a long way out in front. It's too hard of a push, though. And that means that he clears him, drops down in front of Greg Spencer. Raymond Yeager looking to earn bonus point number 1. Let's talk about bonus points on offer here tonight, because that will tell the championship story, Carl. There's a ton of them. How can the drivers earn themselves that 1 extra point?
Well, you've got leading a lap, of course, fastest lap. There are all those little bonus points, but leading a lap is one of the most, it's probably the easiest one to get. Most laps led as well, of course. So there are a few little bonus points you can get yourself, and all crucial. They all build up over a season.
And, well, Aaron Dillon was trying to shove Raymond Yeager a long way out in front. Now the Sim Boys take control of this race. Somebody's zooming up on the outside as well. Keep your eyes out for them. They've got a super draft all the way around the outside. It's Top Maxfield, another Sim Boys entry. Somebody else going along the outside with him. I believe that's Jackson Callow. We're now 3 wide. Dillon was looking to get to the top lane. Now it's going to be Callow that's right there. Drops down in front and all of a sudden controls it. Dillon doesn't get a square knock on. Keep your eyes on that. Drafting is going to be the big story tonight. How cleanly can you hit the car in front? Down to the inside, Maxfield goes. He wants to shut down Raymond Yeager's run, and he's done so successfully.
Yeah, bump drafting, not something you often hear in V8 supercars. It's not often the term, but on the ovals, it is a huge thing. These things are completely different, of course. You've got those huge rear wings. That's a huge draggy rear wing as well. It's not like a spoiler. It's got a lot more drag to it, and that can make the draft effect a little bit more impressive sometimes. Can really suck you up there. Oh, dropping right on the low line there. I think that was Raymond Jaeger just getting on the yellow line for a split second. He managed to save it though. On the outside, Philip Howe getting a little bit squirrely. They are 3-4 wide. Looks like Jaeger and his teammate have just dropped out of the line and are just dropping towards the back of the pack at the moment.
Yeah, and Jaeger did not get a lap led. I've just had a quick look at the timing screen to see who led across the line. I believe it was Alan Dillon or Todd Maxfield that led them past that time. It was actually Dillon. So Dillon has led 2 from 2 here so far. No bonus point early on for the drivers of Raymond Jaeger and Greg Spencer. Philip Howe made a whole bunch of positions, and Jackson Callow was another one there. And I've got my eye on Peter Matson, has been consistently over the course of the season been creeping into view whenever you start talk about opportunistic timing of pit stops. Gary Wellman now surges to the outside. Did he get that lap led? Yes, he did. So bonus point back in favour of Gary Wellman. So that closes the gap down there. And Carl, time to talk point scenarios. It's critical. Raymond Jaeger.
Sorry, Scotty. As they're about 16 wide down the back straight there. Sorry, Scotty. Taking all of the road down. I don't think I've ever seen 16 wide without a crash. That was ridiculous.
Well, drivers up and down the field looking to bobble, some looking them to go forwards, some looking to go backwards, some looking to save fuel, some looking to burn it early on in the race. Maxfield gets extended out in front once again. He's going to get another lap led. Wallman's going to be a little bit crucial about where he sorts of settles in within this pack, and Jackson Callow is trying to get along there underneath Todd Maxfield. Dillon gets a huge run to the outside, all the way up there, out in his own. So I'm wondering whether or not Maxfield's saving just a little bit of fuel squirrely in behind him. Callow just struggles to hang on to it a bit. Settle it down, boys. There's 80 laps here tonight, and with 4 in the books, we're on lap number 5. Oh. Look, I tried to have a look at the point scenario for one moment. I took my eyes off the racing, and that's, of course, when chaos breaks out, isn't it, Carl?
Sorry, Scotty, I missed that, sorry.
I just said I tried to have a look away at spreadsheets, I tried to have a look away at points, and these guys are like, no, Scott, there's a motor race on here, you need to talk about that.
Yeah, it's hard to look away. Just setting the fastest lap, though, was Raymond Jaeger, so he is trying to get a bonus point for that, at least. You try and glance at the spreadsheet, you try and glance at the bits that you need to look at. All of a sudden, there's something going on screen. It is non-stop action at the moment, but the Sim Boys are having a great run up the front. They've locked themselves up nicely. You've got Davidson, Maxfield, Callow up there, who's sort of just breaking it up a little bit. Kate Donnelly, Aaron Dillon, Christopher Finley, Gary Wellman up there, Nicholas Walsh as well, I believe. So it is an absolute... I think you've got every Sim Boy there is in the universe up there at the moment.
Keep your eyes on Peter Matson at the moment. He's moving on that outside lane.
Yeah, that side draft seems really strong at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering whether or not there's a few guys. I just saw some brake lights. I think it was actually Christopher Finlay who had those brake lights on. So that says to me that he's a little bit worried about how his car was performing in the corner. Yep, he's on the brake lights there. I think that's also letting the driver behind him, which is Nicholas Walsh, on that inside line. No, hey, I'm checking up here. That's actually a smart decision. One of the differences between stock cars and V8 supercars is lights. Whether they be front lights or whether they be brake lights.
Yeah, of course, you actually do get the bonus of having a little bit of a warning when somebody's slowing down in front of you, and you can use that to your advantage as well, just to give a little bit of a hint to somebody if you want to change lanes or things like that. You can communicate with brake lights.
Here we go. Just got a notification. There's a whole bunch of cars moving quickly on that outside lane. I think it's Jai Schultz and Sebastian Van Dell that have gone from absolutely nowhere. They've picked up a whole bunch of momentum. They were well back outside the top 10, and all of a sudden, they're going high, wide, and handsome around the outside. I believe they call that one the old Dale Jr. line up there.
Yeah, beautiful. Jumping on board. They see getting up to 306, 307 kph there. Real high speeds up on that high line. Just right, getting to the end of that rev range as well. It is really revving the engine out. You can just hear it straining almost just getting to the front there. Jackson Callow still on that low line. He's managed to get that lead in the low line now with Jai Schultz on the outside. Sebastian Vardell up there. Todd Maxfield in second. He's still going on very well. We've got great pack racing at the moment as well. There is barely anything covering the top 27 cars.
Keep your eyes on that inside line. Maxfield had control for a little bit. Now he's had to cede it over to Jackson Callow. But it looks like both of those drivers are happy to work together. If you have a look at the inside line, something pretty consistent about those cars, well, it's their liveries. They're all Simboys cars down the inside, as Philip Howe decides, you know what? I think it looks better with my car in here.
I just want to make you into a liar, Mr. Rankin. As is often the case, you know, drivers listen to us over the radio. They go, look, they're speaking too much. We want to try and make them look silly. So they've managed to do that once again. Just scrolling down a little bit through the field, you can see just a massive line of cars, and there's barely any break. There is no break at all. It is a solid line of vehicles at the moment. We'll just go to... If we go to the entry of turn 3, there we go.
I was actually going to say, is it probably an interesting time right now to have a look in and see where Andy Barber is, and we need to keep an eye on in the back of our mind. Well, you've seen Gary Wellman's in that green Simboys liveried car, but we need to have a look at what Andy Barber looks like, because that is going to be a car you have to look for throughout the night, and he is very much at the tail end of things, running P6 of P27. So there's 27 cars here tonight, so that changes the math up fractionally by 1 point. So Darren McKenzie is actually the very last car in the queue, and there's a little bit of strategy to running that far back car.
Yeah, look, these are running together. Look, it's teammates running together. It's Southern Stars, I believe, running in a group here. You've got Tom Pritchard, Andy Barber, Darren McKenzie at the back here. Ruben Phelps is the next car along, and they're just running right at the back, not pushing up too far. Just in front of them is Ruben Phelps and Brett Campbell. With the beautiful Toy Story livery on there as well. Very, very happy with the Woody livery on there tonight. But they're just running towards the back, just in case the, what we call at Talladega, the big one, Scotty. It's a term that's often used here at Talladega, the big one. It's when something goes wrong, and as you can probably imagine by the name of it, it's when a big crash happens.
Well, things go wrong in my life regularly. The first one is I wake up every morning, but I don't call that the big one, Carl.
Well, we won't go too much into that. But yes, it's easy to have happen. As who's that just dropping down? Jackson Callow. Is that Jackson Callow just dropping down?
It is, yeah. He's dropping down. He's dropping a whole host of spots. I think he's just dropped about 10. So there's a few guys early on there that went, yeah, you know what? We want control of this. And Callow was one of them. He must have got his bonus point for a lap led, or he led enough laps. And sometimes it's also about looking at things early on and going, who am I comfortable running around? You need to build rapport within these sorts of series. You can't just jump in. You can't race aggressively week in, week out and not have it cause you trouble at some point, because sometimes you've just got to recognize, yeah, look, I'm not comfortable. It's an 80-lap race here tonight. I don't want to be around these guys that are racing for the lead every single lap just yet. Maybe in about 60 laps time I do.
That's it. And well, the other thing as well, of course, is fuel. When you're leading this race, you're going to be using a lot more fuel than you are when you're sitting in the middle of the pack.
So let's talk about ways to make moves through the pack, as Philip House puts on his cleanest pair of shoes right now and surges out to the front. Is he going to get clear of that inside lane? He's nearly there. Yes, he's got clear. He's got control. Philip House surges to the front. He's going to take over the lead of the race for the first time. And Philip House is actually someone I've kept an eye on.
Oh! Whoa!
Wow! Got his name in the commentary box and nearly got his name on a ticket out of the race up and over the barrier. That was well managed by Maxfield and how to prevent that from happening. Great driving, boys.
That was almost the big one there. That is when you get a big crash, is when the front car gets turned around. Very good save by Philip Howe not to lose that. If that spun sideways, that would have been, well, that would have been half the field gone in an instant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and, well, have we finally... Can I talk championship? Can I talk points now? I've done some math. I don't often do math.
Well,
I have done math tonight.
It's taken you all week, I know, but you finally managed to get the abacus working, and you can do your math now,
Scotty. It's head math. I threw the abacus away.
It was too complicated, wasn't it?
Yeah. Something about if I moved this speed here than that, it didn't work. So, look, all I know is put foot to the floor and you go somewhere. That's about all I know. Point scenario. Right, so, Andy Barber, Raymond Yeager. Raymond Yeager P1, he is 13 points clear. If Andy Barber wins, Raymond Yeager must finish 8th or better with even bonus points. Bonus points will change that math up. For each bonus point that Andy Barber gets over Raymond Yeager, that is one place further up that Raymond Yeager must... did I just hear a scraping on the wall? I swear I heard a scrape on the wall then.
Didn't see anything.
Yeah, I didn't either, which is why I'm confused. I am half deaf though. We'll leave it at that.
We'll go phantom scraping, possibly from racing at the Nordschleife. It's a flashback memory.
Mate, don't give me that. No, thank you. Cut it off.
It's like a Vietnam flashback.
All right, so yes, so even bonus points. Raymond Yeager must finish 8th, 8th or better, and he will always win the title. All right, so that is point scenario number 1. Point scenario number 2. Is if Andy Barber wins, Raymond Yeager finishes 9th, and they're even on bonus points, Andy Barber will win the championship regardless of what Gary Wellman does. If Gary Wellman wins, Andy Barber must finish, and this is where I was just finishing up my mathematics before we come in. Wellman wins, Barber must finish P2, and he will still win with equal bonus points. And again, Raymond Yeager must finish, well, he'd have to finish 14 spots further back. So that would be 16th. So, provided Andy Barber doesn't win, Raymond Yeager has to finish 16th or better. Which I think is probably the most likely scenario, so...
Yeah, it's an uphill battle for Barber, isn't it, really? It really is. I got a feeling that... I was just having a little bit of a look around on the car of Kate Donnelly, who's just up there with Todd Maxfield at the moment. And I just got a feeling that it might have just had a little tiniest little glimpse of the wall, but can't see anything major, just maybe the tiniest scratch of paint. So maybe just had the tiniest little glimpse of the wall, and that might have been what we heard. Okay.
Alright, so I'm not making things up.
Well, you may be going mad, but Look,
I've got a psychiatrist's appointment in a couple of months. We'll find out then, huh?
We'll soon find out, yeah. Don't be surprised, that's all I'm saying. Of course, as we said, Scotty, one of the other things, of course, is going to be strategy here tonight. Fuel. Fuel is going to be an important one. Tyres as well. Obviously, temperature-wise, it's a relatively warm track temperature today. We've got 52 degrees Celsius on the track temp. So it is quite hot. That's going to be quite warm on the tyres. Obviously, super speedway's not too severe on the tyres, but fresher rubber towards the end might be beneficial.
I'm not expecting tyres to fall off here at all, if I'm going to be honest. But there is one spare set, so... I mean, restarts is the only thing that can cross my mind.
I'm wondering if somebody could possibly make something work with a fresh set of boots towards the end if there's a restart or something. So somebody might save a pair just to see what happens. Just because, as I say, it's not going to chew up the tyres here at all in a major way, but it might be worth saving a set of boots just towards the end, just in case. Just so you've got something there, just for the latter stages maybe. But of course, the fuel is going to be the main thing, and when you're working the draft packs, you use a lot less fuel, don't you?
Well, that's just it, and even the leader gets a small benefit from being in a draft pack, but it's a very, very minor benefit. They're punching the hole in the air, their engines are working under more load than everyone else's. That's why they burn more fuel. So keep your eyes throughout the pack as well. Peter Madsen opts to go to the outside. He's got a little bit of a draft here. He's going to try and go. Dylan drifts up in the bottom lane and second back, I think that was. I'm just having a look. I think it was, no, it must have been a Simboy car I was looking at. It's the red and black car in the middle lane. Matsson's running out of legs at this point in time. He's going to need to come down and side draft. He does have the momentum on that high side. Will he cross the line and get his first bonus point from the right? They're robbing, but Matsson will get a bonus point in the book. So one lap led there to Peter Matsson.
That was definite door-to-door contact there. That is rubbing and racing, boys.
Was that Davison? I think it is Troy Davison in the middle lane, or is it Aaron Bryan? No, it's Aaron Bryan. I apologise. Davison's on the bottom. What I can tell you, there are no. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking for about 5 minutes. Carl, your turn.
just gonna take a break, take a deep breath. That's fine.
Words are beyond me.
It's been a long day. That's fine. So at the moment, it is the Sim Boys who's kind of got it in control. But there is that outside line. We've got Madsen now working with teammate Jared Daly.
Gerard Daly,
yeah. So they're working together now to move themselves up. So they're going to try and get towards the front of this train. But the Sim Boys have been working really hard at the moment to sort of stop this from happening. So it'll be interesting to see. I've got to get my left and right. Interested to see how it goes, and you can just see how close it is as well from this camera. It is such close racing. There is barely anything in it, and especially when you're free wide at Talladega, going over 300 kilometers per hour at, you know, distances that really you shouldn't be at. All it takes is a momentary lapse of concentration, and that is it. You're going to have a big one. You can see that little bit of damage on Aaron Dillon's side from that door-to-door contact, that little scrape of paint there, and it's just those little tiny little bits of contact, and all of a sudden that can unsettle the car. But this is such close racing at the moment. It's great stuff.
Right, well, they're going to cross the line this time by 20 now in the book. And it is going to be Peter Madsen who leads another lap. Daly's right there with him. Somebody blinking on the low line. I think that was Kate Donnelly, it was. So he's back in there in the mix. And I'm just keeping an eye on a couple things, Carl. One thing I have noticed is have a look at the momentum on this top lane. The inside lane, they come out of the corners and it goes nowhere. And I think if Madsen gets clear right now of Aaron Dillon, he'll come down and he'll take that position away. He's got no support. Daly's now dropped back a fair bit. Aaron Dillon cuts to the bottom line. It's going to be dicing right here. Matfield looks up with Dillon. They're going to try and push each other around to the lead. Keep your eyes on Aaron Bryan. He's going to try and hook up with Madsen this time by. And a few cars sticking their left side tyres below that yellow line. Maybe think we might be getting close to a pit stop. But they're pulling the old rank and fake.
Yeah, that's of course if you get.
Oh! Go Phillip! Go Phillip! Go Phillip!
What a run by How!
And he's done that. That's about the 4th time I've seen him do that too. You know, I've all of a sudden in the back of my mind, I'm starting to think, hang on, Phillip Howe is absolutely pulling pace out of nowhere.
Where did he get that from? Has he got a bottle of Nos sat down by his ankle or something? I mean, you know, a little bit of nitrous oxide down there just in case. Just for a bit of dental work maybe. But it absolutely flew there. He absolutely caught everybody napping and just got right to the front there. Pushed himself right up to the front. Now everybody's coming back at him. Will he crucially get there for this lap? It's going to be close, and it looks like it's going to be Daly going to get that lap just as Howe's just going to miss it. So close as they cross the line, though. Barely anything as they go across. Great to see. Will we see a dead heat tonight, Scotty? That's the question.
I went mental last week with that one, but now it's going to be Phillip Howe that links up with Aaron Bryan on the outside lane, and all of a sudden the Sim Boys have been shaken up a little bit. They've had control of the pack. They've had control of the field. Not so any longer. Now it's the Gentleman Sim Racing Club partnership of Gerard Daly and Peter Madsen, and I'll tell you what, they're looking to be showing clean pair of heels, and critically, neither of them are running the same car model. One of them's a Ford, one of them's a Holden, unlike the Sim Boys, we're all in Fords.
Yeah, that's it. But both looking like they've got Volkswagen badges on them, so they're a complete mismatch.
Next thing you're going to tell me they're Volkswagen Porsches.
with Audi drivetrains.
Yeah, that's the one.
You've got to love the old Audi, Porsche, Volkswagen, Penske crossovers of the past. Oh, good old motorsport. Up the front, lap 24 of 80. We are here for the final race at Talladega, of course, brought to you by my private sellers, of course.
See, it's not just me; it's you as well. There's something in the air tonight. Neither of us can talk properly.
Yeah, I blame the ether. That's my issue. There's too much ether in the air. It's all the petrol fumes from today. There's so much motorsport today. That's it. It's all of those beautiful petrol fumes. That's what's been doing it. And, it's just caused us to get a little bit giddy. Of course, we had the Grand Prix, the Australian Grand Prix, all the V8 action, Formula 500s, 5000s even. We've got IndyCar tonight. We've got so much on. It's impossible to talk about it all. But we have at the moment got the Australasian Eseries on for the final round here at Talladega. As we say, brought to you by My Private Sellers, Edge Setup Shop, Witcher Electronics, and Ray White Rural Gayander. I will one day get that right.
Ray White Rural Gander. It's Gander.
See, at least one of us could get it right, Scotty.
Yeah, because I've had the opportunity to broadcast series previously where they've been a sponsor, and I had to go through a linguistics lesson to get it right the first time too. So don't worry about it.
Oh, that's right. One day I will get. I'll get something right.
The one thing they don't provide to you when you say, "Yeah, I want to be a commentator," they're like, "Go out and do an English lesson. You need to go and do English speaking." It's not free. It doesn't come with the position. Somebody should make it.
Exactly. They should give us phonetic spelling. That would be that's all I want. It would make my life so much easier. But no, they never do. Daly having a good run up at the front, but watch out. Aaron Bryan got a good run up on that high line at the moment.
I was going to say, does that mean it's Aaron Dijon Mustard? I'm going to start calling him Dijon from now on. He's going to love that. I'm sure I'm going to make an even better friend out of Aaron Dillon.
Oh, look, you know, the drivers love it when you give them nicknames. They absolutely do. The highline at the moment, though, we have got Brian trying to get that highline working with Mello just behind him. But there's only 2 cars up there. That's not the optimal way to do it.
I'm just thinking, and if you have a look most of the way back throughout the pack, it's single filed out at this point in time. This is something you see quite regularly within the NASCAR Cup Series, and of course, they run here a lot. They like it here. It generally creates very exciting racing, and this is exactly what you see. Is the first half of the race, it'll be single file, and it'll be in one lane. I think normally they run either the outside lane or the inside lane. They don't normally run the inside lane. Inside lane, of course, shorter way around the track. The outside lane, less turning forces, less tyre scrubbing, more overall momentum.
Yeah, very much so. And I think one of the big things with these,
Time to get excited, Carl. It's pit stop central time. The first batch of cars have made their trip down to pit lane. Jamie Nankervis, Brett Campbell, Ruben Phelps, and Tristan Koch. 4 cars come down together. So their goal will be, let's get this pit stop down, let's get this pit stop out of the way, and let's all hook up and go as fast as we possibly can. Because if they do that, they've pulled the undercut, well, all of a sudden, they'll be at the front end of town. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this. Either it's a 1 pit stop race or it's a 2 pit stop race. If it's a 1 pit stop race, these guys come in at the start of the pit lane window opening, and they will run from here to the end of the road. However, that means if there's a caution, they lose all that track position. So, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, Carl.
Yeah, that's it. And of course, when people start making green flag pit stops, there's more chance of cautions happening. Was just looking at one of the cars did make a little bit of a mistake. I think it was Tristan Koch just missed his pit box a little tiny bit. We've got a few more cars coming into pit lane at the moment. Philip Howe, Todd Maxfield, as well as Aaron Dillon. So we've got another little group of cars coming in. Philip Howe getting very close to the wall there and having to do a little bit of a reverse jobby. We've got the pit stops happening, and this is going to break it up a little bit, and this could break up the front pack. This could really break up the main pack of cars, because at the moment we've got Justin Witcher and Raymond Yeager up at the front of this battle now. So we've got the champions back up at the front. And if these guys stick it out for a bit longer in this nice big pack, that means they're going to be going a bit faster and they can actually break a bit of a gap.
I was wondering whether or not Witchner might just lift off the throttle here and let Raymond Yeager lead a lap. Well, Christopher Finlay is going to try and deny Mr. Yeager. He gets there. He gets to the outside. They're just about even over the line. And the lead of the race goes to Raymond Yeager on lap number 29, coming to 30. So Raymond Yeager ticks 1 bonus point off back in his favour. Now, Gary Wellman's got 1. It's down to Andy Barber to come and get another one. And I tell you what, in terms of most laps led, there's about 3 or 4 cars will be even in terms of that metric.
Yeah, it's going to be very close between those groups. It's really like this race has been so clean so far, which is great. This is what we love to see. Pack racing up at Talladega and close pack racing as well. There is barely anything separating the big front pack at the moment. As we do
just having a look, Carl, I think these guys are doing an IndyCar strategy. This is what you call slingshot drafting. So, for those of you who haven't got any experience with the IndyCar model, hello, it's Alex Polo, is generally one of the lines they say over there. Scott, no, what's his name? Lee Diffie?
Lee Diffie, yes.
Yeah, Lee Diffie is the main commentator over there. Also does Supercross as well. I love listening to commentate Supercross. Going to the front end of town was Justin Witcher there. Effectively, he had more momentum than Roman Jaeger. He went around the outside of him, dropped back down. Then Raymond Jaeger sucks back up to him, gets more momentum, pulls himself ahead. Effectively, what they do in IndyCar is the car that's got the most momentum, it'll surge forward on the entry of the corner, and then it'll pull the trailing car along. Now cars coming to pit road. Raymond Jaeger, Justin Witcher, and a few of the Sim Boys entries. And I tell you what, did he get that one slow down? The 813 of Jackson Callow. Christopher Finlay's in this time by Kate Donnelly, Nigel Patton, Greg Spencer, Jai Schultz, and Sebastian Vondel. That leaves us with Gary Wellman, Nicholas Walsh, Evan Horswell, Troy Davison, Tom Pritchard, Andy Barber, and Darren McKenzie. So Raymond Jaeger, the first of our Championship 3 that's made his way into the pits. The other 2 will continue on and do one more lap. And that says to me they're at maximum fuel range. It's a 2-stop race, Carl.
Yeah, that's it. And look, that is really going to break things up now. How is everybody going to form out? This is a huge pack of cars as well that's come in. So if these guys can get out together in a nice, orderly fashion and play well with each other, then it's going to work out well. One of the cars there, very short stop. Jared Daly there, very short stop on the fuel. So he obviously took a little bit less and tried something different, and he's got out very early. The rest of the cars coming out now. All the rest of the group coming into pit lane now. This is the rest of the field coming down pit lane. A swarm of V8s coming into their boxes, and then they've got to get back out again into the lead of this race. Of course, the leader of the race, who's it going to be once all this shakes out?
Well, right now it is Justin Witchner. I can tell you, Gerard Daly. The reason he went out a lot earlier than them, he stopped for 40 seconds longer. Why do you stop for 40 seconds longer, Carl?
Tyres.
Speeding on pit entry.
Oh, yes, that is it, yes. 40 seconds exactly, yeah, that would be it.
So, unfortunately for the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club entry of Gerard Daly, unless he gets a timely caution, that is going to be night over. But right now, it's Justin Witchner with control. Cars starting to surge out of pit lane. The pack thundering through the tri-oval at this point in time. Who's it going to be that gets the run off of pit lane? Nicholas Walsh has got another car immediately in behind him. The pack is gone. The pack is absolutely gone. And the only one that's going to tag in is Gary Wellman from the cycle of cars that pit on that lap. Everyone else has lost the draft, and this pack has been thinned out.
It has, and we're going to see now as they come around turn 3 and 4 just how much of a breakup this has had. So you can just see how many cars have been broken up by this. Now the main pack's going to come in, and they were separated by a couple of tenths of a second. Now you can see the big gaps forming as they stream through, and there's a few stragglers at the behind, and that has really changed things up, and that's what happens in green flag stops on ovals like this.
Well, it's going to be Raymond Jaeger and Justin Witcher on the low line. The Sim Boys entries of Todd Maxfield, who grabs another lap lead in his book, and Aaron Dillon on the high side. So Witcher and Jaeger have worked together for multiple seasons together. You can see the number one, on the windscreen banner of Justin Witcher. This is the final time he will get to run the number 1 for now. Whether or not one of the other boys that are in championship contention will opt to take that number 1 is yet to be decided. So if Jaeger takes it after winning the championship, you'll see that remain within the team. Otherwise, it's going elsewhere.
Yeah, they'll hope to keep it in the team. I mean, obviously, it's nice if you can get to keep it in the family. It makes things nice. It's a nice thing to have the number 1 on the car. It's always a bonus when you can have the number 1 on a team car.
I tell you what, Philippou is going somewhere. He absolutely is.
He has been there or thereabouts all night long, and he has really shown some good speed. I think he's also one of those drivers that, if we get towards the end of the race and he's sitting there in about 4th or 5th, is one of those drivers that could easily slingshot his way up and get into a really good position. As we see Witcher and Raymond Yeager dropping down, they're looking to drop back a little bit from the front of the pack. They're going to drop a little bit further down and possibly just start a little bit of fuel saving here.
Yep, they are. Witcher has not made his way back up onto racing surface off of the apron, and they're in the corner. And how far back has Raymond Yeager fallen? He has just about lost the draft to the pack ahead of him. He's going to need to suck all the way back up on there. Greg Spencer's to his outside. They're going to need to work together. The teammates just behind them, Nigel Patton, another teammate. So you got 3 cars here together. Yep, they'll tag back onto the pack. So that's worked really nicely there. They're now in control of their own destiny, and Hamilton on the road just ahead of them. Gary Wallman's right there as well. Taking a look back down through the pack, Andy Barber is now down in P number 20. So he has dropped a few positions further back. And for my mind, Carl, every car that pit late then was punished for it. Every car that pit late then.
Yeah, a few people really got caught out with that one. Of course, we saw the early stops come from Tristan Koch and... who was it? It was Tristan Koch, Darren McKenzie, I think. A few of those guys, and they've really lost out. They're sort of out on their own at the moment. So there are a few cars sort of very much caught out in sort of no man's land. Most of them have caught up to the main group, which is somewhat of a it's somewhat of a consolidation. So everybody down to Horswell is about 3.8 off the pack, so they're on the main train. Tristan Koch, Che Mello, and Jared Daly all off the main pack though. Those guys are really going to be struggling now, and they're going to be hoping for a caution to catch up back to the front. Meanwhile, Nigel Patton is moved up to the front. Peter Matson battling it out. It's 3 wide. Todd Maxwell on the inside line. We've got a great battle for the lead again. It is just constant non-stop action tonight.
Yeah, they don't want to single file it out the front. The rest of the pack, they're all happy to run in single file. They don't seem to mind too much. But up here at the front, these guys are like, yeah, no, let's have a motor race, thank you.
We want as much action as we can get. It is the final race. We want to make it as exciting as possible, and they're doing a great job at it. We are getting chopping and changing every single lap. They are getting closer and closer as well, making us take deeper and deeper breaths, and really, really causing us to have a moment of, oh, is that going to be? No, we're still going fine.
Yep. No, we're good. We're good for now. Yep, we're good for now. We're still good. No, yeah, no, yeah, we're good again. Thanks, guys. Keep it exciting. I mean, we're not going to sleep here. That's the benefit.
No, that's it. I mean, who needs coffee when you've got motor racing like this?
Oh, my word. I'm going to jump around. I tell you what, Carl, we got a little bit of a break in proceedings. Things seem to calm down a little bit. I'm going to jump in and have a chat with the Southern Stars boys and just ask them a couple of questions because they're running at the tail end about their strategy and their race. See if we can get maybe Tom Pritchard up for a quick word. Sure,
we'll let our roaming reporter, Mr. Scotty Rankin, head down the pit lane and get onto the team blower.
Has
we got contact? Oh! We've got to rack up the front. It is a big one. Tom Pritchard got involved in that one as well. Let's see if we can catch the replay of that one.
It was 4 wide. That's why it happened.
No, sorry, that was towards the back. Sorry. Where were we? Who was that caught up? It was
Peter Matson, Aaron Dillon, Todd Maxfield, and must have been Aaron Bryan who was on the outside, but they were 4 wide for a moment.
That's
effectively what's caused it. Yeah.
Peter Matson, that's what I was trying to look for. Sorry. Peter Matson was in the middle. So
I think you've got the pit stop cycle on screen. If I'm going to be honest, this is just after the pit cycle, but because you've got Raymond Yeager and Witchner at the front. Yeah, so this is the lap after the pit cycle. So if you go back to the start of lap 39, you'll get it. Carl?
Okie dokie. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcast difficulties.
Yes.
This is it. This is it right here. So you can see Dylan gets a run, and he tries to take it somewhere, and the track narrows fractionally on that corner exit.
Yeah.
So Peter Matson's trying to hold the middle lane. Aaron Dillon he's got momentum. He's seen a gap. He's going for it, and he's just Matson's come down fractionally at the same time Dylan's gone up, and they were 4 wide. So it's a driving error, but it's a racing driving error. Like there is nothing in that.
Absolutely nothing in that. We'll just try and get that one from Peter Matson from a slightly different angle. So there we go. You can see it gets turned around, and luckily not collecting a whole heap of other cars. It's lucky they were kind of broken up, because that could have been an enormous wreck. And tell you what, this is where the brakes on these supercars really pay off, isn't it?
Well, let's take a look now, because let's have a look at pit stop strategy. We are at the end of lap number 40. Now, a lot of drivers throughout the field, they'll take a look at this and they go, yeah, this is a free opportunity to get a pit stop. Some of the drivers might actually have a look here and go, yeah, you know what? I want some track position. Let's go for some track position. Philip Howe's going for track position. Everybody else has got the call from the crew chiefs. Yeah, come down. Let's fill the tank up. Let's go again.
Yeah, as you can see on screen right now, there is a swarm of cars. There is an absolute herd of cars in pit lane at the moment. It is absolutely everybody other than Philip Howe in pit lane.
Oh, Philip, I feel so sorry for him. He's trying to make a play, and if... Look, to be perfectly honest with you, if 2 to 3 cars go with him, they can make this work. But he can't. The problem Philip's now got is that he's going to run out of fuel in... Well, he went 28 laps on the first stint, so he's going to get to 56. That's in 15 laps' time. He needs another caution before that happens, or he loses everything.
Yep. It's a big roll of the dice, isn't it?
Couple drivers that do benefit out of that were the drivers that was running down in P26, P27 at the time, which I believe was Shane Mello and Gerard Daly. They both had, I believe, stop and hold penalties for speeding on pit lane under that green flag stop. Well, they now get to return to the back end of the pack. I'm going to go grab Andy Barber, I think, and we'll have a chat to him about his championship prospects.
Yeah, and of course Tristan Koch as well got a little bit of help out of that one too, just getting back up there as he was left in a bit of no man's land. So that's going to help his race out a little bit, which is always nice when that can happen. Sometimes pit stops, well, sometimes cautions can actually help you out, but we have Andy Barber in the booth with Mr. Scotty Rankin.
Andy, I've just grabbed you here just for a couple moments. It's a little bit of an uphill task when you come to a super speedway. You've got to have the mindset of, I've got to be in this at the tail end of the race. I think just having a look at where you guys have been positioned out on track tonight for the Southern Stars crew, that's pretty much what you've been going for.
Yeah, mate, just going through the motions, bit of teamwork, bit of strategy happening back here. We want to, get a ticket to 10 laps to go and be up there. So, yeah, just playing it smart as we do with the super speedways. And, just going past halfway mark here, anything can happen. So just looking after the car and, just trying to stay out of trouble.
So, a little bit different to stock cars or American stock cars in the way that you can make the moves here. Those cars tend to struggle. It's all about your side draft. I've had an eye on Philip Howe. Have you guys actually been able to see him? He's pretty much been able to gain 10 spots at will tonight. So you guys are a little bit worried about it's not going to be so much where you're positioned come to that last lap as where the run's going to come from.
I don't know. It really depends. The pack's a little bit slower tonight, so we'll see how it goes. But it alternates in pace. Obviously, the leaders really dictate the pace of the race and how that goes. But just for us, I'm just looking after the car and making sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's and try and get as many points as we can.
Okay, so, and final question before you go. Philip Howe is the only car left to pit there. I think for you guys it's a little bit of a no-brainer. Come down, fill the tank back up. The splash at the end, a little bit different. Was there anyone considering from the Southern Stars boys going to stay out under that one?
Not really, no. We just figured we might just sit at the back for a little bit more, a couple of laps and see what happens, see what unfolds. And yeah, as we go through the pit lane, just grab an extra splash, doesn't hurt. And we know that these races all come down to fuel at the end sometimes, so yeah, just covering ourselves off a little bit, but a long way to go, mate.
And the only other question I have for you is the young one, Ryan. You haven't let him sit there and tell you that he's a better driver so far this season, have you?
What's that?
Ryan, he constantly tells me that he's a better driver, Junior.
Oh, he is, mate. He's amazing.
Well, he's got to get it from somewhere, so he gets it from Dad, clearly.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll wait till he gets the rig, and then we might drag each other, and we'll see which one's the quicker one.
Right, thank you for your time. You have a great night. Best of luck to the Southern Stars, boys.
Yes, thanks, boys.
I tell you what, I talk to Ryan Barber all the time. He is constantly in his dad's ear about how he's the better driver. he does not let him get an inch.
Like that's the thing about kids, is they always think they're better than their dads. And that's because their dads are always so nice to them.
Well, Philip Howe has got a question mark over him. Everyone's going to do one more stop. Do you go hard? Do you go early? And do you lead this this pack away? Or do you back everyone up, you drop to the tail end and see how long you can make this last?
I think with what we've seen from Philip Howe tonight, I think it's just going to be going hard, going fast. And I think that's going to be his plan of attack tonight as he drops the pedal. And I think he's just going to be going for it. He's just going to want to try and lead as much as he can and just see what happens. You never know what can happen in motorsport. This could be the winning strategy.
Something critical and something important to both the NCAR League and the Australian Supercars E-Series is lane changes on the restart. Cannot change the lane that you're in prior to passing the start-finish line. Once you cross that stripe, she is all hell for leather. Philip Howe leads him away. Nigel Patton grabs a little bit of a draft. Howe is going to be lighter in terms of the emptiness of that fuel tank at this point in time, but generally the car that's second in queue has the advantage going into turn 3 on the opening lap after a restart, and that's the case you've seen there. Patton once again back to the outside. Patton will have the momentum advantage. You'll probably clear him here, and Howe is going to try and slot up. He's going to have to let Aaron Bryan go because Bryan gets to his outside. Patton comes down, tries to offer the drafting support here to Philip Howe, and you'll see Bryan probably dip in, try to get in front of Kane Donnelly. Oh, not going to do that. Everyone's minding their P's and Q's at the moment, Carl.
Yeah, they're driving fairly safely at the moment. They're sort of not putting too much. They're not going too hard. You say that with racing drivers, and then of course you look at them, and then you see them, darting around, and then going for gaps that are millimeters of, less than a millimeter wide. You wouldn't even fit a Mini in most of these gaps, and they're fitting a bloody, Mustang in it. So, as is common with motorsport drivers, it is always trying to prove us wrong, but they're being relatively polite at this moment.
Well, keep your eyes on Shane Mello, who's not being relatively polite to his throttle pedal at this point in time. He's just grabbed about 7-8 spots. He's still got the momentum. Mello to the outside. Doesn't quite get the lead of that lap. It's going to be Aaron Bryan that ticks that one off in the book. But Mello's going to drop down in front of him here in a moment. No, he's going to hold the momentum on the high side.
Going for the wall of death approach, going for the old motorbike style, just going up on that high line, just trying to carry as much momentum round the high side as possible. Getting a nice bit of side draft there. They are driving down side by side, but it looks like Brad's got a little bit of an advantage. He's got Dylan behind him as well. He's going to give him that little bit of a push, and that's going to help him out, and that could hurt Mello's speed. So Bryan up there at the front at the moment, just with Dylan. Mello just drops in behind him as we're getting up to the start-finish line once more. As another lap ticks past, lap 46 of 80. So we are well over halfway now. We are very much getting towards the latter stages of this race, and we've had some great pack racing so far. Lots of clean pack racing, and it is broken up a little bit now at the front. There's that little front pack of 4 cars with Philip Howe, the sort of next one along, and they're sort of just evening out a little bit now. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one unfolds, because they're starting to think about the long term, I think.
Yeah, and have a look at the front end of town, have a look at the rear end of town. There's micro battles that happen up and down the field. Your race can be decided in a moment by which one of them might bring out the yellow, which one of them might happen at an opportune time. You lose the momentum, you can't take it anywhere. Shane Mello really trying to hang on to the tail end of this pack, see if he can take that run somewhere this time by. Christopher Finlayson has had quite a few strong successes over the last year. He's put his name into victory lane for the first time last season, I want to say it was, for Christopher Finlayson, and there was not a more deserving driver. Lovely guy is the Sim Boys driver, always willing to put his hand up and say, yep, look, that one, I was at fault. I apologise for that one, I'll wear it on the tin. And that's what you'll want from the best racing drivers, isn't it?
Yeah, look, always good to accept when things go wrong, and look, it's one of the things that is really good about the leagues. As you know, good about a lot of these drivers, they are usually very quick and very honest about what goes wrong. Will quickly say, you know, if they make a mistake and quickly apologise about it, because at the end of the day, oh, it's a big mistake there! Oh, just a big moment. Was that Jai Schultz and Jackson Callow? Very, very lucky to not have a bigger crash there for Callow.
But he has grazed that outside wall. V8 supercars tend to wear it a little bit better than stock cars, but that will lose in momentum, and that will probably put paid to the end of his night of surging forward. Or will it? Never mind. Jackson Callow says, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong, Rankin.
Well, that's the joy of the draft. As you can get in there, you can see that damage. You can see that front tyre now. A little bit more visible. It's a slightly more streamlined approach of the car. It's a new body shape for it, so probably not the optimal body shape, but it is the new body shape. But he is making it work at the moment. I think possibly a little bit of driver rage there, just getting him up and making that work for now, though.
Raymond Yeager was trying to get his lap led in the book, didn't get it this time, and once again it's going to be Jai Schultz that surges to the lead, and somebody else to take it away from Raymond Yeager within 10 metres or so to the line. He has not had good luck with trying to tick that one off there tonight. No, wait, actually he has already ticked that one off. I'm sure I said at one point he's put tick in the laps led column.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got one lap led from memory. I vaguely remember there was at least one of them early on. I think where is it?
Tell you what, Kate Donnelly working together with Justin Witchner, he didn't look very happy with that to start off with. Callow has lost the draft, and somebody Nigel Patton trying to push him along. Patton, he's got a little bit of damage on the front. You might be better off putting your effort elsewhere. Through the middle, with a whole head of steam, goes Gary Wellman to the front end of that little pack, and he's still surging up the front. And yeah, the Pinnacle Esports drivers starting to fall back through the pack. They're playing race protection at this point in time.
Yeah, just easing off a little bit. Could they be fuel saving possibly, just to make sure they can make it to the end?
I would say they're practicing their moves. They're basically saying, I want to see how far forward we can get and how long it takes us to get up there, and what we need to do that. So, and that's what they're doing at this point in time. They're basically going, right, if we want to go for the win with 2 laps left to go, is that too early? Do we need to go for 1 lap left to go? Do we need to go with 3/4 of a lap left to go? How far back can we be when we go for that move? So that's what they're doing at this point in time. It's smart. It really is. It's intelligent.
That's it. It's a very different style of racing, and it just gives you a little bit of practice through the whole race. Just gives you those little options, and gives you a little bit more information as the race goes on, so you can then put it into practice in those last final stages and make it work for yourself.
Well, there's one driver I do want to point out, and you've already mentioned his name here earlier this evening. Brett Campbell. I got to talk to him last week. He said he'd had absolute blast. He got pointed out on the broadcast, and he had an absolute ball the time. He was right up near the front of the end of the town, which we haven't said a lot about Brett Campbell. He's flashes of brilliance, and he's been definitely getting better as a driver. Currently sitting all the way down the field in, what's that, P18 at this point in time? But
P18?
using his head as Brett Campbell.
Yeah, he's having a fairly solid drive, fairly solid in the middle pack at the moment. That's not a bad place to be again.
Whoa, Philippou gets a bump on right up at the front end of town. And Gerard Daly, all out of shape, manages to hang on to it, and everyone in behind Dales has let him grab that car, wrestle it back under control, and keep going. That is great driving from not only Gerard Daly to pull the car back under control, but everyone immediately behind him.
Yeah, we'll see if we can catch that on the replay. So this is Gerald Daly. Hopefully we'll get the actual moment here.
It's a little bit further along, but you'll see... This is live pictures, I think, at this point in time.
No, this should be the... I'm hoping this is it.
No, it's not. I can tell you for a fact it's not that.
Okie dokie. Might be a bit too far back. Oh god, I gotta love timing.
Go to the start of lap 51. Go to the start of lap 51. See, it's teamwork, this broadcasting stuff.
That's right. We'll just skip back to live pictures. That's fine. See, unfortunately, my little events thing tells me that things happen. I click on it, and then it takes me back to the wrong thing sometimes. So that's always fun. So back live here, you can see the teammates working together as well. Again, having teammates around you is always a boon on a super speedway.
Yeah, Gerard Daly is going to assume the lead of the two-car Gentleman Sim Racing Club tandem. And Peter Matson at this point in time, he was up there a little while longer. He's done a fancy pirouette. Got to say, it was light on his feet for Peter Matson. I don't know if he's had that said about him many times, but he has, a couple times. Occasionally he looks good on his feet.
Oh, like, it was a great save, and again, the robustness of this car, it's useful sometimes.
Josh Schultz on the inside line at this point in time as well. Hasn't had a whole bunch of race wins attributed to him over the last 6 months, but he has put in a ton of bang-up performances. If you're looking for a driver that's young, still learning his craft, still going forward slowly, Josh Schultz is probably your man. All that he needs to do is put a little bit more racecraft, a little bit more smart driving, and knowing when to send the moves, and that man will be in victory lane, I have no doubt, multiple times over the coming years. So keep your eyes on Josh Schultz, so you can see leading the inside lane at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely one of the up-and-comers in series. Jackson Callow in pit lane, unfortunately, so that's going to be a painful one. So I think that might be the end of his night. Todd Maxfield a lap down, just sort of was having a bit of a look through. So I don't know what actually happened to Maxfield, because he was right up there at the sort of top end of the battles, but he's actually dropped a lap.
He did say when they initially went green then that he had to come to pit lane to serve a penalty. So I have a feeling he might have overtaken on the way into pit lane under caution, which you can't pass under yellow, or you can't pass on the entry to pit lane under yellow. I have a feeling as well, either that or he sped on pit lane, one of the two.
Always a painful thing when you get the penalties.
Yeah, he definitely had a penalty. I'll try and see what lap it was. Jackson Callow still on pit road. Jackson Callow back out of pit road, I think, at this point in time. Or has left the server. Indeed, Jackson Callow has now disconnected. So first retirement, and indeed only retirement so far of the evening, as we're now 55 laps into this run, 56 laps into this run. Mansfield last pitted on lap 43, which was just after a restart. 55-second transition time through pit lane. Yep, that's a penalty.
Justin Witcher getting the lead of the race for a split second, but look at Aaron Dillon getting an absolute flyer on the high side. Absolute wall of death around the outside. We go back to free wide racing here. Who is going to get this lap led? We're coming up to the start-finish line now. Who's going to get across first? It's going to be interesting to see here. We'll get a bit of a view from the photo finish cam.
Oh, mate. You've got this set up after last week, don't you?
It's a bit hard to see at speed.
Gerard Daly actually got it.
Nicely done.
In the middle lane, so Daly will lead that one by. Aaron Dillon had a huge surge of form on that lap. Huge amount of momentum. Another car with a lot of momentum as Josh Schultz sends it to the outside. Got a little bit of drafting support there. He gets clear at the front. He's going to drop down into the middle lane, going to drop down into the bottom lane, and Josh Schultz reconfirms he wants the prime seat on that inside lane right at the front.
Big lane change there, of course. Changing 2 lanes at once, that's frowned upon on the road, but on the race circuit, absolutely all for it. The two Gentlemen Sim Racing cars side by side at the moment as they're trying to get there. Peter Matson and Gerard Daly there with Justin Witcher sitting in the background. We've got some great racing going on. Evan Horswell as well up there too. This is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and have a look at Nigel Patton all of a sudden showing a whole bunch of speed. Just keeping an eye out now for Philip Howe, who should have been due to make his stop anytime about now, because remember, he didn't stop under that caution period. He could have saved some fuel, but it'll be this lap, I'd say, or the next one that he'll have to come to pit lane. A little bit of a check-up on the inside. Josh Schultz trying to get to the rear bumper and give a good old shove to Gerard Daly, who'll shove Nigel Patton, sorry, not Nigel Patton, Peter Matson further along. Nigel Patton towards the outside, trying to get his lap led for the race.
Looked like Jaeger got a bit loose on the rear for a couple of moments there. Just a little wiggle on the back end of that car. They're just starting to get that little bit wiggly on the tail at the moment, some of them.
Yeah, so that says to me, rear tyres are either hot or worn.
And that could be interesting, as we know when the rear tyres start to get a little bit too hot that sometimes a little accident can happen quite easily.
Yeah, and you think you've got the ability to just grab the brakes, lock it all down and save it, and the thing just keeps pirouetting, which is obviously not the way that you want it to go.
Yeah, you'd think that warm tyres would be stickier and give you more adhesion, but no, they actually act more like ice, don't they? It's an amazing thing.
Well, no, there's like it's like a good bowl of porridge, to use the Goldilocks terminology here, right? A good bowl of porridge is it's perfectly warm. It's not too hot. It's not like somebody's just set fire to the roof of your mouth. It's right in that middle range. But a cold bowl of porridge, that's yuck. That's gross. You don't want that. You want it right in the middle, don't you? And it's the exact same way with tyres. Too cold, little bit yuck. Don't really feel like making grip. A little bit too hot. Yeah, that's going to hurt my mouth. Don't really feel like making grip with that. Yeah, so it's the Goldilocks theory to tyre management.
That is it. And look, when they get really too hot, it is just like it's like boiling chewing gum. It is the worst thing in the world. It's just, they are the worst. Hot tyres are the worst things in the universe. For racing drivers, we do not like them.
So, Kate Donnelly just jumped on the radio in server, and he just said that he has got no Discord connection at this point in time. So there's a lot of guys right now that are struggling to communicate. It's effectively like if a racing car driver's just all of a sudden lost his connection with his crew chief. Whole host of cars are just pinning in. These guys can now make it to the end, and it's a Sim Boys grouping, along with, I would say, Philip Howe would have gone, you know what? That works in my favour.
Philip Howe did go in as well. That was a perfect timing for Philip Howe.
He's out. There would have been no space left in that gas tank for Philip Howe. He would have been smell of an oily rag, but the oily rag wasn't all that oily.
No, that would have been the least oily rag in the world. It would have been running on just running on pure rag power, I imagine. Absolutely nothing in there. But that worked out perfectly for Philip Howe. He's managed to get through this and just get out there with that one less stop, I'd say. So that's interesting to see. Meanwhile, Peter Madsen is in the lead at the moment with Raymond Jaeger. Those two are going to come across the line. It's going to be Madsen and Jaeger. I think Jaeger just about picked it that time round. But they're going to stick out a little bit longer again. See how this one goes.
Now remember, it was about 28 to 32 laps was the longest pit window opened. Lap 28. So the first drivers that going as hard as they possibly could come down lap 28. The drivers that saved as much fuel as they possibly could come down to lap 32. The pit window for most of these cars, that puts them around lap 70. So all the Sim Boys have gone for the undercut here. And you know what? They're not all hooked up, and they're only about a quarter of the track ahead of the main pack. So if the main pack gets hooked up, gets a wriggle on here, and they catch up to them, well, that's pit stop, pit window, thrown out the window, and there's a whole host of cars that have come down pit lane this time by. The car on screen at this point in time was Philip Howe. We said this is exactly what he wanted to see. The only problem for Philip Howe, he had to add more fuel to get to the end of the race, which meant a longer pit stop, which meant he lost the pack.
That's it, and he's getting caught up to by this big pack of cars now. So there is a big group of cars heading down towards him at the moment. As who have we got in pit lane at the moment?
And you know, the big group of cars that are coming down towards him, at this point in time, are 3 seconds back. 3 seconds. If they close that up, that's the lead group. They get pulled along. That's what the leaders want to see. That's not what the Sim Boys and everyone else that's already pitted want to see, Carl.
Yeah, that's it. It's helping them. And again, we saw this last time. It's sort of the cars that had that big pack. Well, we've seen it time and time again, I should say. You know, if you can keep that big pack working, it can really help you with the overcut aspect. Of course, if a caution comes out, it can change things up a little bit too. But at the moment, you've got Jaeger and Madsen up at the front with Patton and Daly. Witcher, Mello, Horswell, Schultz, Spencer, Pritchard in the top 10. But the second group is Pritchard in that top 10. So they've got that sort of second group at the moment. And they're going to want to try and hook it up and just work together. But they sort of need to really get this hooked up working nicely, because otherwise they're going to lose speed. Meanwhile, up the front, they are still battling. So they are kind of... They're working as a pack, but they could lose speed if they keep battling.
Well, the problem here is Todd Maxfield's sitting on the outside of them. He's keeping pace and he's got no draft support. So they're fuel saving. The Southern Stars Racing boys, they're hoping that they're going to make this gap up by saving that little bit extra fuel, not having to add as much to the tank. V8 Supercar fills extremely slowly. It feels like a lifetime sitting there on pit lane. The Gentlemen Civil Racing Club boys now into the pit lane. Peter Matson, Gerard Daly, they give up their run at the front end of town. Now they're shuffled back through the order. It's starting to get chaotic out here as Raymond Yeager, he is the master at these sorts of tracks, at knowing when to push. He knows what he's got to do to secure this championship. He's thought about it long and hard, and him and all the boys over here at Pinnacle Esports Racing have assumed their roles perfectly.
Yeah, they've got this one in a line. You can say they've been sort of... I did say that maybe they'd fallen back just to save a little bit of fuel, and it seems like that was the case. They were just easing off on the gas pedal a little bit, just easing it off a little bit, cooling it down and just not using as much fuel as some of the other drivers, and it really has paid off for them. They managed to go a little bit longer. That's going to be a little bit less time in pit lane as well.
And critically, I can tell you for a fact that the Southern Stars boys, they're going nowhere. They need to get a wriggle on because they need to get up to this pack and they haven't done it. Evan Horsfield's going to rejoin the track right in front of them. That's some drafting support. Who's going with him? They're not going to go with him. Maxfield, he's going to block that outside lane. He's going to prevent Barber from going with the momentum. Now Timmy Maxfield starts to come down a little bit. This is critical. Southern Stars boys, they don't want to see this. They've all joined up in the middle lane now. They're trying to find some momentum. Maxfield still on the outside. That's side draft. That's pulling them backwards. This is where their race can all go wrong, and it's just by having a Simboy in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, this could really, really hurt them right now. It's just what you do not want to have happen.
They've got to get in. I think they've got to lift, and they've got to let Horswell lead this pack. Because Horswell will be going full noise in my mind, and there will be fuel saving, which is exactly what they want to do. So it's turned into a fuel race, which we knew was going to be on the cards when we came to Talladega Super Speedway. The 4.28 kilometers, 4 turns. 4 turns of wide open battling, 4 turns of draft battling. Cars now starting to dive to pit lane. The Southern Stars boys have gone, you know what? This isn't working in our favour. We've got to come. But guess what? The entire pack ahead of them's come down pit road as well. So everyone is now going to be coming through for their final stops. Every single driver in the field has made their final stops. Who is going to pit the longest here? Southern Stars boys, they should be good on fuel. They should be hooked up. It's now going to come down to how long do they sit stationary. Raymond Yeager, right there in the front of your shot. He's the second car from the Pinnacle Esports Racing guys. Wichner's away. He's going to surge through. Yeager's still in pit road. Wichner has gone a long way ahead. Is that a short stop? Raymond Yeager has been swallowed up. This is championship deciding. He has spent an absolute age on pit lane.
That has been really costly for him. And look at the pack of cars just coming up beside him now. There is a huge pack, and that is Dylan Connolly. That is the Simboys cars coming up, and they're all going to start linking out together. They're joining up on track. This is where things could get really dicey as you've got cars coming up to speed, cars rejoining. You've got cars all over the place at the moment.
Witcher is 4 seconds out in front and 4 seconds clear of these guys. There's no way. There is absolutely no way that Justin Wichner has got enough fuel to get to the end of this thing. The worst part is, for everyone else, they've got to sort themselves out. If Gary Wellman, he wants to win a title, any of the Simboys, they want to win this title for their team. They've got to get organised, and they've got to go now, because if Wichner starts to run away, they've only got 11 laps to catch him.
Yeah, but of course he's got no draft. He's out there on his own. That's going to cost him some speed. That's going to be a big disadvantage at the end, and that the pack should catch him up.
Unless this is a play, unless this is Pinnacle Esports saying we've got one car doing one thing, which they do, you know, they do that on the regular. Car surging to the outside. Keep that in mind at the moment. I think that's Jai Schultz. It is. He is going to go into the head of that pack. So now Jai Schultz is alongside Troy Davidson. Troy Davidson loves his foot to the floor racing. Can he be the man with the power to change destiny for the Sim Boys tonight?
One driver that really got caught out in all of that was Philip Howe. He's a lap down now. Had to come in for a second stop, I believe. So maybe just didn't have enough fuel, or he had to come in to serve a penalty. So that is a shame for Philip Howe, who was having a fantastic night up until that point, but now is a lap down. So he'll be hoping for a caution and possibly a lucky dog to get him back in this race.
So let's take a look at our lap times and the deltas at this point in time. Jai Schultz closed 1.4 seconds in on Justin Witcher. The gap now is 3.2 seconds from Jai Schultz to Justin Witcher out in front, so they will catch him. However, that's not relative because Schultz started the lap, a long way down through the pack, so he got a huge draft support. So it's about a second, 0.9 to a second, 0.8, 0.9 a second, somewhere in that realm. That means a couple laps time. Justin Witcher, well, he's going to have a hungry herd of hornets, hungry host of hornets is a better term, immediately out his rearview mirror, but they're not going anywhere all of a sudden.
No, it's almost like they've stalled off. Witcher is actually, he's keeping fairly good pace at the moment. He's sort of keeping ahead of this group of cars.
So you know what? It says to me, the IndyCar strategy is the way to go. It's slingshot drafting.
Yep.
Somebody from this chasing pack has got to sit back, get a huge draft, send it to the outside, drop down in front, and use that momentum to pull the pack along.
And it is a very hard skill to master, the slingshot. It is one of those things that not all drivers are used to. And as they went 4 wide for a moment there was just that little moment of hesitation in the mid-pack. You just get that feeling that it's just getting a little bit racy now as we get towards the end of this race. Lap 71 of 80. It is coming down towards the final stages. Patton making a move towards the front. But they are getting... Oh! Justin Howe loses it! Big...
Caution! Was that Raymond Yeager? I feel like that might have been Raymond Yeager. Don't tell me that was Raymond Yeager.
Yeager got through. That's Raymond Yeager getting through. Philip Howe was the big one in that one. Let's go and actually see if we can catch that on replay properly.
Who wasn't it? It was one of the Pinnacle Esports cars that got it.
So Yeager is the one that slides through there. Oh, who was that other car there? Or was it Raymond Yeager? We'll go and have it back and have a look. So this is Raymond Yeager. We'll go on board with him right now. I think it was Yeager. No, it wasn't. Yeager just... Oh.
I'll tell you what. He last week said post-race, I cannot believe that I got myself caught up in something that wasn't my accident to be a part of. He was so unlucky at Chicagoland because we would have come here and Talladega would have been a moot point. All of a sudden, he came to Talladega Speedway with his heart in his mouth. Anything can happen at Talladega was what we said last week. Anything nearly happened for Raymond Yeager. Now, Justin Witcher has control of this pack. If you're at the tail end of this one and you haven't taken tyres, Carl, you don't lose any track position. Do you come down and do it anyway?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a no. That is a no given. That's my strategy call. So obviously it's the wrong strategy call. But that's what I would do.
Oh, Carl, I'll put that one in the book. If you're in the last few laps of a race, Carl Worthy is gonna come to pit road. He's gonna take his extra set of tyres and he's gonna get back out there and go racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll still lose somehow because it'll all go wrong. Right. It will be the wrong strategy. But look, that is what I expect. Now, have we got anybody coming in to pit lane? I don't think we...
There are a couple. There's one car in pit lane. It's Greg Spencer. He has to come to pit lane though because he'll have engine damage.
Yeah, so I think it is just the cars that have a little bit of damage. Nobody deciding to come in for a last minute
So nobody's taken your tips, Carl.
No,
you've just given them away freely on the internet,
exactly.
And nobody's open to take listening to them.
As always, nobody listens to me. They completely ignore my advice, and this is why they win races. So
done. That's it. That's the comment. That's the season right there. Carl Withy's strategy advice. Don't listen to it.
Exactly.
So how much do you charge a month for the Carl Withy crew chief service?
Well, technically, I've been in a team that's won an Indy 500 and 2 kart championships, so I claim those.
Well, I mean, clearly it's worth at least $5 a month.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to start earning over $1 coins at the start of every month.
That's it. It's I do know what I'm talking about sometimes, but yeah. Usually, if it's, I'm always guaranteed to get the wrong call. So just do the opposite, and you will win the race. Because yes. It's always it's always guaranteed that the other thing will happen that I say. So,
Carl, at this point, I'm willing to hand you a shovel because you're enjoying digging that hole.
I'm so used to digging my own holes. It's just normal.
Mate, don't worry. Yeah, both of us up here, we're great diggers.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
We would have fit in with the Anzacs perfectly. So it is Witcher in the lead with Patton second, Finley third, 4 for Schultz, Davidson 5th, 6th for Dylan, Brian in 7th, 8th for Donnelly, Wellman 9th, and Daly in 10th. Of course, we'll give a shout out to our sponsors as well while we're under caution for the moment. Of course, My Private Cellars, head on over for all of your fantastic winery needs and wine drinking needs. Edge Setup Shop, of course, for all your setup solutions. Witcher Electronics for all your electrical goods and electrical needs and electrical things when you need something fixing. And I'll let you do the last one, Scotty.
I missed that. I've just jumped out. I actually got Brett Campbell that's going to come and do an interview for us.
Oh, I'll let you do the last one. Ray White.
Gander. Did I get it?
You're closer than me.
you ripper. You bloody beauty. Well, talking of games, fun and games that we have here. This one's a simulator though. We've got the driver of the Toy Story car, Brett Campbell. I mean, Carl's a big fan of the livery. Talk to us about that one. How'd you come up with the Toy Story entry for the final round of the year?
Nickname's Woody, and so Andy Barber did the paint job up for me.
Well, there you go. Congratulations, mate. I will say, I think I'm personally the better driver with 15 on the car. What are your thoughts?
Nah.
Fun fact, Carl. I drive the 15. Brett drives the 015.
We know the 015 is better because it's got a 0 in front of it.
Oh, alright. Okay, calm down. Brett, it's been fun and games so far tonight. You had a great race out last time at Chicagoland. We've got 5 laps here to go to the end. You going to get aggressive? Going to get spicy? Going to go racing?
Gonna try, mate.
The runs are coming thick and fast to the outside. It's all about getting that slingshot draft. What have you learned from the night so far?
Just stay out of trouble.
Well, trouble's going to come and find you with 5 laps to go, brother. We'll let you back into it.
No, thanks, boys.
Look after yourself, and remember, the 015's always the fastest car on track, mate, so go make it so.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, remember the 015, not the 15.
Oh, okay, alright, Carl. Thank you. Yeah. Let's just add another foot to how deep that hole is, shall we?
Well, hopefully you won't clip any curbs.
Oh, alright, well, there's going to be 5 laps to go here in the grand finale Australian Supercars E-Series. If you've enjoyed everything that you've seen so far here this evening, these guys are about to conclude this season. That means another season will be getting underway very shortly in the future. Keep your eyes out for that. Follow the Australian Supercars E-Series page for more. Get involved. It's a ton of fun. Now, the drivers are just entering the tri-oval. There they are at the top of your screen, sitting in the high lane. Justin Wichner puts the loud pedal to the floor. 5 laps left to run. He's going to try and get back up in front of Nigel Patton, and the pack is all sorts of broken up. It's going to get spicy, Carl.
It is indeed. This is the time where you need to make those runs happen. This is where you need to make your money, and this is where big accidents can happen, of course, as people try to go too hard, too fast. But it is Witcher in the lead at the moment. It is an absolute blinder of a start for him, but look at that angry pack of cars behind him as he gets contact. Little bit of a hit by Joe Schultz. He manages to catch it though. Great job by Witcher.
And it was Finlay on the bottom. Finlay was trying to get into that lane, and Jai Schultz wanted to take the run he had somewhere. The hole closed so quickly. Now Finlayson's surging forward on the bottom, and have a look who's just cropped in a shot on the bottom lane. That's Andy Barber. Gary Wellman immediately to his outside, so the championship is alive, well, and running. Raymond Yeager is following Andy Barber like you would not believe. He knows that all he's got to do is stick with him. If Barber can't go anywhere, championship over. If Wellman can't go anywhere, championship over. So he's got them all through his front windscreen. Now it's going to be Witcher to the middle lane. 4 laps left to run. Nigel Patton goes to the outside. Simboy's formed up 1 and 2 on the inside lane. Kate Donnelly's trying to take it somewhere. Gary Wellman's 3rd place in that outside line. Barber finds a hole in the middle. Now it's going to come down. We're going to be 3 to go the next time past the stripe. Witcher and Patton make contact. The teammates from Pinnacle Esports. Well, if you thought it was snooze festing out, all of a sudden a caution brings it to life, and the Simboys surge to the front. Get their noses further ahead. It's Christopher Finlayson.
Oh, it's a huge wreck behind!
And a big one.
The big one is there, and there is a car on its roof. Oh, a big rollover for... Is that Van Dell? Sebastian Van Dell is over and over and over, and so many cars caught up in that. I think Raymond Yeager was one of those unlucky ones.
It is Raymond Yeager's P22. He's missing his boot lid. The championship might have just been decided right there. 13 points was the difference between Raymond Yeager and Andy Barber. If Andy Barber's got an incident point, he loses 1 bonus point there. So
I'm just looking at my screens. Andy Barber now. He also got caught up in that, I believe. Not quite as bad, but that car is pretty beaten up. There is a lot of damage onto... I believe it's damage.
He looks fine.
No, there is.
He looks
fine. Yes, okay. It's actually the paintwork that looks... it's the trick of the paintwork. Okay, let's try and get back and get to that caution. Let us...
So there's 2 scenarios here. Andy Barber has not led a lap. Now, if he finishes the race with 0x, that cancels out Raymond Yeager's lap lead. So keep your eyes in the middle of the back of the pack. There's a spinning pink car, and I don't know who else that was involved in that one.
So Sebastian Van Dell, and he was the one that went over and over and over and over. But we will try and get back and have a look again with Raymond Yeager. Go on board with Raymond Yeager here, and this is on board as he gets caught, and big heavy impact there as well. And look at the cars there. Yeager got through that. Well, that's a big one. And you can see Van Dell is still rolling down the pit lane. Yeager's had to come through pit lane, so he'll get himself a penalty as well for that, I think, because he had to come into pit lane to avoid that incident.
So I can tell you, I've just had a look at it. It's Todd Maxfield, I think, that's got, Todd Maxfield sitting at the back of it. It's got a huge run on the pack. He's come through. He's tried to take it full wide in a whole bunch of spots, and Van Dell was just lazy drifting up at the same time. That's what's caused it. Brett Campbell, the guy we're just talking to, got through it perfectly on the outside. Maxfield comes down. Oh, tags, and I thought Campbell had gotten through there, but Raymond Yeager gets tagged by Maxfield, spins up the track and takes him. So all of a sudden, the man who had it under control in Raymond Yeager no longer does so. He may have fastest lap. There's a question mark hanging over that car. That's a bonus point back in his factor, which means that Andy Barber needs to finish 14 spots ahead of him.
Yeah, so that could be a championship race. That's a championship changing. Could be a championship changing incident there. That was a huge wreck, and so many cars caught up in it. I really hope Sebastian Van Dell does not use VR. That's all I've got to say.
The room will be spinning around, over and over and over again. I believe he actually races go-karts in real life, so Van Dell's actually got quite a strong skill level for a driver because he's got that real-world experience to fall back on. But real-world experience doesn't mean very much at super speedways.
No, that was a big one. Oh, okie dokie. So,
one and only green-white checkered finish. Carl, I did the honours last time. Do you want to give us the rundown on what we call NASCAR overtime, or in this case, Australian Supercars E-Series Championship deciding mega overtime?
Yes, the Australasian Eseries Supercar Overtime, brought to you by private sellers. Of course, green white checker means that you get one try at it. So you get the green flag come out. Then, if you make it round without a crash, the white flag will come out, and then you make it to the end. If there is a caution between that green flag and the white flag, then it is the end of the race.
At all. A caution before the checkered flag at all. Does not matter if the white flags come out. The caution will lock the positions. If you're 10 feet back from or 100 meters back from the finish line when that caution flag flies, that's it. Positions are locked at that point in time. So it does not matter when that caution flies. Let's take stock of our championship scenario. 13 points was the gap from Andy Barber to Raymond Yeager. He'll have a look in his mirror and he'll know that Raymond Yeager is in P22. He's crawling. He's going to try and finish this thing, and I think 22nd is the last car on the lead lap. So he has not come down pit road. He might have cycled through pit road, so he's the last car, but he's driven through pit road straight out the other side, such that he's the last car on the lead lap, and that's all. If he'd have come into the box, he'd have had required repairs. You cannot leave the stall once you're in there for required repairs. So I would say that's what he's done, Carl.
And as I said, I think Yeager is going to get a penalty on top of that because he had to avoid through pit lane. So he's going to end up with a penalty at the end of this as well. So it's just gone from bad to worse for Yeager, hasn't it, really?
Well, Ray has to serve it this lap because if he doesn't serve it, it's a 40 seconds. It tags him on to the tail end of one lap down. Yeah. Is effectively where it'll position him. So that's why he's at the tail end of the pack. The green flag's going to come out, and Raymond Yeager's going to be in pit lane trying to serve a penalty when that does happen. So,
well, just when you think it's all over, it all goes back to craziness.
Right, so 22nd, right? So 22nd is where we're confident of where Raymond Yeager is going to finish. That means for Andy Barber to win this championship, he's going to need to finish 8th.
And that's very doable right now. He's currently sitting in 11th position. Gary Wellman is in 9th, and I think he's mathematically out of it.
Gary Wellman must win. Must win is the scenario for Gary Wellman. And he is directly ahead of Andy Barber. So whether or not Wellman says, you know what, my championship's over, let's see if we can get Barber across the line. He might do that, you know.
It could well be. The pace car is peeling into pit lane. We are going to go green here. Remember, it is a long way to the start-finish line as well. So you've got to go all the way across this tribal section. So that's going to be tricky. But we are getting back.
And Chris Finlayson on the bottom line. He gets a really good job. Andy Barber is on that bottom line as well. He's gaining a host of spots. Andy Barber needs to make one more spot, and he will win the championship. Right on board with Andy Barber. It's all in his hands. You can see the pack ahead of him. He cannot get tangled up. Where's he going to go? He goes to the top line. The Sim boys are on the bottom line. Does Wellman off to block? He doesn't. He's going to go with Patton maybe to the outside. Is he going to shoot the middle? Patton doesn't opt to block. It's the Barber! Barber's gone to 5th, you know! He's got one hand on the title! Can he bring it home? There's a lap and a quarter to go! This thing was all over for Raymond Yeager. He had it all locked up. About 5 laps ago, cover in the fence. It's the Gentleman's Sim Racing Club. We stay green. We're going to get back to the white flag, Carl.
We're going to get there. Oh, we're going to get there. There was cars going off, and I think we are going to get that white flag coming out. They're still going for it. Barber's still sitting there in 6th position. He's just going to try and get past this group of cars. He needs to seize the seas to part for him right now. If he can get a sniff through the middle of this pack that is 4 wide.
He doesn't need to. It's going to be the Pinnacle Esports boys on the top line. Andy Barber's trying to pick. He's going to go with one of the Sim boys racing cars. He's got to pick one and just go with them. Right now he's with Aaron Dillon. On his outside, Troy Davidson. You've also got another car directly to his outside. That's Aaron Bryan. If Andy Barber finishes in this second row of 4 wide situation, he's got a huge run. Aaron Dillon is actually going forward. Dillon's got to keep it straight. It's Andy Barber who's got a shot. Bryan's going to run. Barber. It's Barber through the middle. Barber's up to 5th. Barber's back to 7th. There's nothing in it.
Which is turned.
And it's Barber's backwards. Barber's backwards. He's not going to win it. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I
He's
think
12th. Raymond Yeager, Australasian Supercars champion, season 2. Raymond Yeager will take it, and Barber thought he had it. There was 200 meters between Andy Barber and a championship.
Not often am I speechless there.
2 weeks in a row, Carl.
2 weeks in a row. I think Aaron Dillon has just got across the line.
Yes, Aaron Dillon's won it. Gary Wellman finishes P2. Gary Wellman wins the title.
Well, does he? Where does
Wow.
Raymond Yeager finish at 16th?
Well, okay, Yeager's got it. That was where he needed to finish. Yeager will win.
we need to wait for this to all sort out. Eventually, we will get a car coming across this start-finish line, ladies and gentlemen, as it is Dillon there. That is Aaron Dillon getting across the line, looking nice and easy. Wellman goes across backwards. Jamie Nankervis in third. Oh my gosh, what a finish. Not often do you finish a race sideways, backwards. Nobody's upside down. But finishing in reverse for Gary Wellman. What a finish there.
We've got to wait, ladies and gentlemen, because the official results need to come through.
Yeah.
I think the saving grace here is that Nicholas Walsh and Cade Donnelly got a penalty on the last lap for driving through the pit lane.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait for this to actually...
Because if that's the case, if they'd have finished ahead of Raymond Yeager, then I think Gary Wellman wins the title. But because Yeager finishes ahead of them, I think it's Yeager's.
Yeah, let's just... we'll watch from the photo finish cam once more, because we're watching at full speed, because this is just brilliant.
Somebody, can I get Benny Hill theme music on speed, please?
It's even better at full speed. It's just the chaos. Yeah, we need to wait for this to come
and
through.
You know what? All that is you got a steamroller full of drivers that all want to win.
Yeah, and that is always the case. It is just a huge moment. We'll just try and go back a little bit to see exactly what happened. Try and pick out exactly what happened there. So it looks like...
I think you're gonna have to Raymond Yeager. You know what? He's a series admin, so he's gonna be up till I think 3 a.m. tonight doing points.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a long night for the admins, unfortunately. Of course, head over... Well, obviously, you're on the Facebook page, but keep an eye on the Facebook page just for the official results. But currently, as it stands, it is Aaron Dillon getting the victory here tonight, with Gary Wellman in second, Nankervis in third.
What causes this? What actually caused this? Because you knew it was coming.
So it looks like... I'm trying to see who the red and
Have a
black
look
car
at where
was.
Gary Wellman is. Gary Wellman's like 10th in that shot.
Yeah.
10th or 12th.
Witcher gets tagged from behind. If you look at the
by
Witcher...
Aaron Bryan and Nigel Patton at the same time.
And...
Brian's trying to go somewhere, which
Yeah.
you don't... The guy wants to win the race, but at that point in time, there's not a gap there, so his best bet is to shove Troy Davidson. So that's just a mistake. That's all that is. That's a guy that just wants to stick his name in victory lane for one time this season. Nigel Patton snakes through. Troy Davison spins up to the top line. Currently, you got Justin Witcher looking back at the pack going, oh no.
Yeah, this is the moment when you're in a car going, well, this isn't going to end well.
And at this stage, Andy Barber's won the championship. And at this stage, Andy Barber is still winning the championship. Still winning the championship.
And
now
losing.
He's pointing at a fence.
Yes. And Gary Wellman somehow bounces up and then spins it around. Does he on his roof?
He's touched the grass on the left there. Foot still planted firmly in the gas.
Jai Schultz almost makes it onto his roof. It is just absolute chaos here.
That's racing. That is racing in a nutshell.
And as you can see, it's just absolute chaos through the pack. As Gary Wellman is spinning around backwards here. A few cars below the yellow line, of course, so that they won't get counted for their finishing positions. And that's giving Gary Wellman that for style points. I think Gary Wellman may have won it tonight, crossing the line in reverse. But Aaron Dillon, his teammate, does get the actual victory next to his name. And Jamie Nankervis, just not anything he can do going sideways, just gets in there, just Bradbury's it.
That's it. Don't you just love it when everyone... You know what? Well, let's find Jamie Mankervis. Let's see if we can break it down with him. Maybe he knows a little bit more than we do. And Jamie Nankervis, Scott and Carl in the broadcast booth, and hello and welcome to the Stephen Bradbury Circle.
Hey guys, how you going? Was a bit that way, wasn't it?
Mate, when you saw Chaos Unleash in the tri-oval at Talladega, you've gone, yeah, that's about right, but you never thought you get through the other side of this with P3 next to your name.
I was hoping. I picked the right spot. I saw him going everywhere up high and down low. I thought I'll just sort of try to snake my way through the middle here, and it sort of worked.
I think this is your onboard shot at this point in time, Carl. Is that it?
Yes, there we go. We've got it working. Yep.
let's piece it through. So at this point in time, you see smoke, and that's all you can see. And for the viewers at home, you have very limited view screens from where you sit in these things.
Yeah, it is. But I was too busy looking at the side screens, to be honest, watching what was coming down, what was coming up. I wasn't even looking in front.
That's probably for the best, in all honesty. I mean, in front of you, there was just chaos.
Yeah, there was. But I'm just watching the replay now on it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna
Oh.
go ahead and tag you with a new nickname, Jamie. We shall call you Moses.
Well, I've sort of felt that way a bit. It just old Adam come down there and got me. I saw Chris coming up the inside there. I was just trying to get around him, and there was
Oh, there's a tag there.
a little bit up. Yeah, and then two wheels up on the wall.
And obviously, one of the big things about Dega, of course, is that start-finish line is so far back on the tri-oval, of course. It's sort of, you have to get resettled in here, and you luckily sort of bounce yourself back, driving along the wall here as well.
Yeah, a couple of goes at the wall just to try to drive off that and just get a bit of momentum across that line, because there was no motor left in it.
So Moses and Tony Hawk rolled into one. Jamie Nankervis.
Thanks, guys. Good broadcasting, by the way.
Just doing the wall grind as well. I mean, that's got to get a bit of an extra trick score as well, Jamie.
Yeah, that was fun. That was good.
What was the skill multiplier on that one at the end?
3.5, wasn't it?
Mate, look, it's been an awesome season all year long, and it just hasn't gone your way at some points. Last week in Chicagoland, it was a strong performance. At the end of the season, I mean, you cross the T's, you dot the I's, you sort of check everything off, and you go, there's a lot more that could have been. What's next in season 3 for 2022?
Look, I'm just doing a lot of learning. I'm still new to ANSCAR this year as well, trying to get a bit of experience in the lower classes in that. I'll definitely come back and run the V8s here on a Sunday night next season. I've got a sponsor just come on board now with the fire extinguisher shop as well, so that's actually a good one to be working with there. So they're looking after me with that, so I'll definitely run that Sunday night.
Well, what a time for a fire extinguisher sponsor to come on board.
Yeah. Had a few of them on board, so that was good. Yeah, definitely needed them.
Mate, absolutely congratulations. So you're halfway through thanking the sponsors now. Anyone left to say a big shout out and a big thank you to?
Momentum Esports and you guys for putting on a good broadcast, as always. Thank you very much. Jumping in the last couple of weeks, it's been really good to sit back and watch it over. It's been a fresh approach that I think this league needed too. So you guys have done really well with it.
Oh, thank you. A little bit thrown together at last minute, but I think we managed to get things working, which is nice.
Nah, it's awesome to listen to. There's a lot of good. I learn a lot just by going back and watching you guys.
Righto, so that is P number 3, Jamie Moses, Tony Hawk, Nankervis. Congratulations to him on P3 here this evening. Moving right along will be Gary Wellman, who was a serious rival of mine actually last season out. He's going to finish on the podium in the championship once again, but you get the feeling that he will be a little bit upset with not going the full distance here. Gary, Carl and Scott up here in the booth. What a wild ride to the checkered flag.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic, eh? Far out. I was always probably going to go like that, I thought, but yeah, it's a bit of fun.
We went a quarter of a lap 4 wide, and it hung. I thought at this point in time, you guys have been 4 wide for so long. For so long, we're going to get through here, and the championship at this point in time, it can be either any of you 3 between yourself, Raymond Yeager, and Aaron Andy Barber. What are your thoughts at this point? Because you're at the back end of this pack. This isn't actually the viewpoint from Gary's car, guys. Are you just trying to get through the thick of it? You're just hoping for the best possible finish you can?
Yeah, I was trying to sneak through. There wasn't too many holes to poke through there, but yeah, I thought if there's going to be a wreck, I'm probably better off being down the bottom, and that's kind of snuck through underneath in a fashion until I got turned backwards. But
so at this point, chaos is unfolding up the top. You've got no visibility of it. I bet that the teammates are screaming in your ear, "Oh no, it's gone wrong." That's Andy. That's Tom Pritchard just there. Andy Barber's just fenced it on the right-hand side, and now. Well, you can't see the start-finish line, but you know it's somewhere behind you. Nankervis trying to Tony Hawk his way to P3 just behind you. There's the finish line. That's what P2 feels like at Talladega Super Speedway. That's a rare finish to cross the finish line backwards and still have P2 to tell.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to turn out like that, but it was definitely pretty exciting there, and it was anyone. I mean, there's 15 cars there that all could have probably snatched the win. It was just a bit of a toss of the coin how it would unfold, and I was kind of happy with the podium there.
Look, you Sim boys, you work incredibly well together. That's part of the thing. It's about car culture. It's about having fun. It's about driving what is one of the loudest, wildest things on the iRacing platform as fast as you can around a circular track. And it's just about hanging out and have a good time on Sunday night.
Yeah, that's it. No, we love this series, and particularly the super speedways. We always seem to go pretty well on them ones. So it's a good time, boys. I think there's 7 of us now, and we're all in there having a bit of a laugh. So it's good fun.
Okay, so just confirming, it's going to definitely be 10, 12, 15 next season, right?
Yeah, at this rate we're growing, so we're still recruiting.
You're like hydras, aren't you? If we cut one of your heads off and 2 more grow back in your place.
That's how we roll down here, mate.
Well, Gary, look, in my mind, you drive the cleanest looking Simboys car. Green is my favourite colour, mate. So, time now for the shout outs to all the sponsors, the team, the league, everything.
Yeah, cheers, boys. I'm a bit out of practice this season. I think it's my first podium. So, cheers. Awesome to have locked on Rads with the broadcast now and all the series sponsors. And just the series. We have a ball. Cheers for everyone and all the Sim boys getting out there and having a crack. It's good times.
Mate, I'll come rattle some cages with you next season if they let me out of the comm booth. I promise you that.
Yeah, cheers, mate, and congrats whoever's won the series. I don't even know that yet. So.
Well, at this stage, I think it's between you and Jaeger, so we'll find that out hopefully soon. All right, well, that's Gary Wellman, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute pleasure. A man who races very cleanly yet very aggressively, doesn't give an inch, does an incredible job, and congratulations to him on another strong championship season. Well, we haven't spoken to Aaron Dillon in a fair while, but you got called Dijon Mustard here tonight. We're about to find out whether or not he likes that term. Mr. Aaron Dijon Mustard Dillon, how are you, brother?
Yes, good yourself.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. It's been a fair while since we've spoken. I actually did a dirt race with you, I think it was earlier this week. So you're always out there and having a blast in the cars, and this series is one of the many you participate in.
Yeah, no, I love this series. It's been a shocker year for me though this year, but glad to get the pretty much the first win. I think it's my first podium for the year too.
Gary just said about the same thing about his P2 and he crossed the line backwards. Excuse me. Everyone's going for style points tonight across the finish line, but you were the cleanest looking thing crossing, the only one across the finish line pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, I'd say that was the luckiest driver out there tonight across the finish line. Not the skillfulest by any means, but it was a good race.
Well, look, talk to us about the strategy, because I believe you and the rest of the team pitted at the end of lap 59 coming to lap 60. You guys went hard and fast for that undercut, and the pack still got out ahead of you. So the strategy didn't quite go your way, and then you get a late race restart. It's so difficult. You guys do a great job at it, actually, mind you, but it's tricky when it doesn't go your way.
Yeah, no, we just thought we'd try something different there. We thought, we'll put about 35 litres of fuel in. We'll have enough to make it a lap or two earlier, but it didn't work out as much as we hoped. But anyway, we still came away. We were hoping for a 1-2-3, but it didn't quite happen.
Well, it was close, and that's all there is to say about it. That is one heck of a way to finish the season. And Barry from the flag stand gets that checkered flag ready to wave it. There it is, out and in the hand, and Aaron Dillon sideways but pointing in the right direction, grabs the P1. The rest of the field comes through as chaos, mate. Your opportunity to say big shout out, big thank you to everyone that's a part of the Australasian Supercars E-Series.
And I'd just like to say big shout out to, the Locked On Lads guys that have taken over. It's a great broadcast. Series sponsors, United Electrical Solutions, Hot Toddy's Heating Installations and Ferris Shifters, and the Simboys.
All right, thank you very much for the time in the booth, Aaron. And we just said to Gary, look, with you guys, the 7 of you this season, we're expecting 12 to 15 next season, so you better go out there and get recruiting soon, mate.
I don't know if we're that liked. I don't think any of the other boys would like to jump across, but we have fun anyway.
Well, boys, you race an aggressive style, but that's also a trademark for you guys as well, so it works your way. Congratulations on a great finish here tonight, Aaron.
Cheers, mate.
All right, well, we've spoken to the podium. I'm going to leave you momentarily, Carl.
Yep.
I'm going to see if I can get an admin verdict on where the series has landed at this point
That
in time.
is fine, because I'll go through the finishing order as we currently have it up here in the booth. So taking the victory, Aaron Dillon. Jane with... you have to forgive me as my results page is glitching out. Oh, I love technology sometimes. Yes, you do have to forgive me. So, for everything thrown together at the last minute for this series, just to get everything working. So, the results page not working as it should do, which is always a fun thing. So let's just go through the results with the sidebar there. So it's Aaron Dillon taking the victory, Gary Wellman second, Nankervis third, fourth for Mello, Pritchard in 5th, Patton in 6th, 7th for Finlay, Koch in 8th. Very good recovery for Koch considering he was a lap down earlier on. Daly in 9th, Barber in 10th. Unfortunate for Andy Barber in the ends there. Really unfortunate to see him get caught in that incident. Troy Davidson 11th, Schultz in 12th, 13th for Witcher, Campbell 14th, 15th for Matheson, Jaeger in 16th, 17th for Spencer, Phelps 18th, McKenzie 19th, Donnelly 23rd, Donnelly 20th, I think. You have to forgive me as things are a little bit iffy. As I'm missing 20 apparently. Donnelly 21st, 22nd Barron, 22nd Walsh, Varndell 23rd, 24th Maxfeld, Hornswell 25th, Howe 26th, and Callow out in 27th.
Right, so I've just spoken to the series admins. So this is what I have at this point in time. Reminder, the race is finished 5 to 10 minutes ago. So things are not final. Things are still under review. But should nothing change, I have your final standings. In P3, at 8 points back from the leader, Andy Barber. So congratulations to Andy. He put an amazing performance in those last couple laps, and he had one hand on that trophy with 100 metres to go. So that's unfortunate for Andy, but that is absolutely the best I've ever seen him drive, and there is a lot to take away for Andy. He will be over the moon with that championship finish, I can tell you that for a fact, and I think he'll come out and go, that's racing. You're a little disappointed being so close, but that's an amazing job, and that says consistency throughout the year. So great job, Andy. Drum roll, please. In P2, Gary Wellman by 5 points. So the championship is decided by the fact that Aaron Dillon finished ahead of Gary Wellman. You remove Aaron Dillon from the race, and or from P1, and shuffle him back to P2, and Gary Wellman and Raymond Jaeger would be level on points. At this stage, unofficially, your series champion for Season 2 2022 is Raymond Jaeger.
That is a huge, huge one. Look, very lucky for a very damaged car. Jaeger, obviously it's still a lot to go on with this one, but unofficially, that is a huge, huge win, and a great job again for Pinnacle. Obviously, managing to get that with the poor luck, you got to say, in the last 2 races, just getting caught out in those last 2 races. That just shows what a solid rest of the season it has been for Jaeger.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to consistency. And when you talk to Gary, he said, I think that's my first podium this season. You chalk 2 or 3 more podiums up throughout the season, there's nothing, absolutely nothing that separates those guys. And it comes down to consistency. You cannot win them all. And you see that within the NASCAR series out of the States, there are 10, 15 guys that will win a race throughout the season. And it comes down to the number of times you finish outside the top 10. It's about minimising your point loss throughout the season, Carl.
It is indeed, and I think I can spot down in the green room one Mr. Raymond Yeager.
Yep, we'll see if we can grab him in a moment.
So we'll just go back a little bit and just get that last lap so we got it on board with Mr. Yeager, and we'll grab him up and have a bit of a chat to the man himself. And as it stands, as things are still to get sorted out, currently things are looking like the champion of Season 3, Raymond Yeager. Welcome to the booth, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Didn't think I was going to be here with about 100 metres to go.
Well, that was a pretty rough end to your race.
Mate, yeah. Look, unfortunately, just got involved in that second last wreck, and car was pretty much toast, had no speed, so I mean, without that wreck at the end there's no way I get high enough to hold on. Just lucky that Aaron wins the race instead of Gary, otherwise we're both champion. I mean, it's just luck tonight. I tried to stay out of the road for most of the race. Yeah, but it is Talladega, isn't it?
I mean, you've got to go at some point. You picked the moment to go, and unfortunately it was just the wrong moment. Let's talk to us about what you had to do. I did say that I had heard that you had a drive-through penalty or some sort of incident point penalty or something had happened during the race with the green-white checkers about to be displayed. So was that the case? What was the case for the last 2 laps, and what were you thinking?
Yeah, so what happened is on that last wreck, I thought I was through, I just got clipped. And then as I was spinning out of control, I've gone through the pit lane, which has given me an unsafe pit exit and speeding in pit lane. I don't know if it's a glitch in iRacing, but I got lucky. It just said drop to the end of the line, which I think is the penalty for when you exit unsafely from the pits, and it cleared both penalties, so I think I got lucky with that.
Okay, so that leaves something to review then, because there's also something that happened on that last lap. There are actually 3 cars who were issued a post-race time penalty, which were Cade Donnelly, I think Nick Walsh, and Aaron Bryan were the 3 who actually got the same penalty as you did, so there'll be 3 more spots. So that tightens it. Is that something that the admins would do, is consider in that case whereby they're not in control of the cars through no fault of their own across the finish line, do those penalties get cleared? And it's difficult as a series admin, because I've been there and I know Carl's been there as well. It's a difficult, where does the buck stop with clearing those sorts of penalties? It's a difficult decision to make sometimes, but you've got to set the line in the sand.
No, so for us, it's really simple decision for us. We've never cleared black flags. We never will clear black flags. So unfortunately for those guys, those time penalties stick. It obviously sucks for them, but that's how it is. We don't clear black flags.
It's consistent. It's easy. Everyone knows where they stand.
Correct. That's what we aim for, is consistency, and that's why we do the independent race review at the end of the night each week, just trying to make sure that the decisions are as consistent as we can make them, because that's what drivers want, is consistency from the rules, basically, so they know what they can and can't do each week, and it's going to be the same every week.
And visibility, I think, is the other key factor. Talk to us about the visibility in terms of the reviews thing, because this league here within the Australasian Supercars E-Series does something I have not seen anywhere else, and I think from that, you guys are actually the most respected league I've actually seen on that note as well.
Look, I obviously can't speak to whether we're a respected league or not, or if anyone even knows that we exist, to be honest. But look, we do broadcast the race review each week as well. so that our drivers and fans of the series can watch it if they want, and just see how we make decisions. And look, one thing you can't control with Facebook is people comment in the comments section while you're doing the review. We as admins try not to read those too often because we don't want to be influenced by anything that's said. But yeah, look, I think, as you said, I don't think anyone else is doing that sort of thing at the moment. We think it's a really good thing that we do. So we make sure that we do it each week when there's actually a race review. Luckily, this season there's been plenty of times we haven't needed one because we haven't had caution. So.
Right, so let's now move on. This race has been shared actually very, very widely tonight, so let's use that opportunity. Season number 3 of the Australasian Supercars E-Series has now been run, done, and won. But drivers out there have been saying, look, I want to get involved. I've spoken to several people actually throughout the year, away from the league, away from commentary duties, away from everything. And one of the things I do say is, if you're not sure, you want to get involved in oval, you've thought about it before, but you are only interested in the road racing, but you want to have a crack at it. This is a unique style of racing. It's a road car on an oval circuit. That doesn't happen anywhere else. How do people get involved?
Yeah, so basically, if you head to our Facebook page, which I think is just Australian Supercar E-Series, so if you just look up that, there'll be a link to our Discord, which is pinned to our Facebook page. If you hit that, there's a section in our Discord that says how to apply. You just follow those steps, and we'll review your application, and we'll assign you, well, you can get a car number and come racing with us.
Alright, that's all the business stuff out of the way. Congratulations, mate. Series number 3 champion. You get to go to Justin at the end of the race. You get to peel that sticking off the back of the number 1, and you get to apply that to your car if you so wish. Is that going to happen?
Absolutely, mate. It's a thing that we do. The number 1 is run by the champion the next year, so I'm just stoked that if Justin had to lose it, I'm the one that managed to take it from him. So he's been unbelievable in these cars. Won 2 out of the first 4 seasons. So he's a beast. So he had a bit of bad luck this year, but glad to keep it in the Pinnacle Esports racing team.
And finally, mate, on to next season. Things are going to be bigger, badder, faster, and better than ever. You've got the number 1 in your seat now. Did Justin feel the pressure previously with the number 1? Are you going to feel the pressure?
Oh, mate, I don't really feel the pressure. It's just I might not be good enough, mate. I was a bit I was a bit lucky this year, eh? As I said, some of the boys that run up the front each week had some bad luck, and you know they're super quick, man. Those Sim boys, Andy Barber, as I said, Justin Witcher, they're all super quick. The other some of the Stars guys as well, Adam Malone, Darren McKenzie, all these guys, man, they're all so quick. There's literally 10 blokes, 10 or 11 at least.
Actually, there's more than that. There's more than that.
Well, there's 10 Sim boys in there or something.
Well, there's 10 for now. There'll be 15 next season.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There's probably 15 blokes that can win the race any week, and look, that number's growing every week as well, because some of these guys that that are newer to the series are getting better every week as well. You saw it with Phil Howe tonight. He ran right at the front for most of the night, which credit to him, because usually he's down the back. So he's been running right at the front consistently for the last sort of month or so. So everyone's getting better every week, and it's becoming harder and harder to win these things. So I only won 1 race this year, I think. So that sort of says all that needs to be said, and I've won the championship. So anyone can win on any week, and it's going to be an amazing series next year. It really is. So I can't wait, to be honest.
Yeah,
mate,
sorry, Scotty. Just speaking, of course, for next season, of course, we will be going out with a new broadcast partner.
Absolutely, man. We cannot wait to bring... technically, you boys have done it the last 2 weeks, and I know you are both involved with Locked On Lads, so I'm hoping that we can have a very, very similar to what we've had the last 2 weeks, because I've watched both of them, and I've loved them. They've been... I think Gary or someone said earlier when you were chatting to them that they thought that this is something the series needed to sort of have a bit of a change, because we've sort of been with our previous broadcaster for the first 2.5 seasons of the league, and I think it changes as good as a holiday, as they say, and you boys have really put on a great show in the last 2 weeks, so I'm super excited for Locked On Lads to take over full time next year and into the future as well.
Well,
Mate,
hopefully,
we haven't done anything. You guys have put on the show. You guys, the racing here, I will follow that up because I was P2 last season. The racing here, oh boy. If you want to have fun and you want door-to-door racing, you come here. That much is for sure. And then everyone's, oh, sorry, mate, I made a mistake. I overdrove. It's fun. It's close. It's door-to-door. It's a commentator's dream, mate. You make me look like a superstar.
Yeah, look, that is the one thing that I've loved about this series is, and the reason we chose to keep it running when the old series sort of packed up, is this racing is without a doubt the best racing on the platform. There's no doubt in my mind about that. It's side by side the whole time, through 2, 3, 4 wide at times, and the group we've got at the minute, we've got a pretty consistent group that rock up every week, and they're so respectful most of the time. We have the odd slip, as everyone does, but most of the time, super respectful between each other, and like you said, if someone stuffs up, they own it, and we move on, mate. It's a truly a great series. I love it. I love running it, and yeah, it's amazing, man.
No, and of course, we'll let you just quickly go through the sponsors for the series as well.
Yeah, look, without these guys, the series doesn't run as smoothly as it does. So, My Private Seller are our main sponsor. They're our big sponsor. They got on board this season as our naming rights sponsors, and they've really helped us. Take this to the next level, I guess. We also have Ray White Real Gander, who have been our naming rights sponsor for the first 2 seasons. Took a step back a little bit this season, but Pete Matson, I'll tell you what, that bloke has helped us so much with the first 3 seasons, and he runs it each week as well, comes out and races each week as well. He's getting better every week. He's a real contender next season, I think. We've also got Witcher Electrics. Justin's been on board obviously since the season started, series started, and continues to support us, and the Sim Racing Edge as well, who provide the top 3 in the championship with prizes for their finishing, so which is access to the setups that they put out each week for the official stuff. So look, without those guys, like I said, wouldn't be as good as it is, that's for sure. And as I said, I cannot wait to have Locked On Lads on board next season as well.
No, we look forward to it, and look, thank you for giving us the opportunity as well.
No, absolutely, guys. I've been speaking to Wilco pretty much non-stop for about 3-4 months, probably trying to get him on board, but even before he was started broadcasting Ansgar Thunder, so look, I'm glad that it's sort of fallen into place, and he can do it for us, and obviously having you, Carl and Scotty, if you're going to be in the booth as well, man, it's going to be a great show each week. I can't wait. Mate,
Last week, there was a dead heat. This week, P2 crossed the line backwards. What happens next season? How can you escalate it next season? We've already gone. This is as far as it can go.
Yeah, look, I don't know how we top it. Earlier in the season, we had Cade Donnelly win a race on his side facing backwards. So, I mean, it's been an unbelievable season. As I said, it's a testament to the feud we have rock up each week and put on some really, as I said, amazing racing. In my opinion, it is no doubt the best racing on the platform. These V8s on oval tracks, so we're gonna stick to that formula, and hopefully grow and make it even better than it is now, mate.
And of course, the new season will be starting.
Oh, that's a great question. Well done. May the 8th, I reckon it is, because we've got a special event on May 1st. I think May the 8th is our round 1.
Righto, congratulations to Raymond Yeager, Series head admin, Series champion. for this time out 2022. If you are excited about V8 supercars, if you're excited about turning left, not so much the turning rights, well, good news for you. Sign-ups will be open in the very near future for the next season of the Australasian Supercars E-Series. Carl Slideways Wilkinson, I'm going to go do a backflip across the finish line and see if it makes me any faster. What's your thoughts for the next couple of weeks?
Oh, look, it is going to be slaving away in commentary booths, and pretty much that's about it for myself, my usual hobbies. But a big thank you, Scotty, for joining me up here tonight, to Mr. Raymond Yeager as well for allowing us to do this broadcast, and of course all the competitors out there for giving us some great racing. We look forward to seeing you next season on Locked On properly as well. Of course, you can catch all the replay, of course, on the Australasian Supercar Facebook page. It is also over on my page, Skreezilla, SKREEZILLA. So it can be caught on a replay there if need be. But we will be officially back with Locked On soon, so we're looking forward to that one. Thank you so much for joining us all tonight. A big thank you to everybody, and we will see you for Season 4.